Hello, and welcome
to Sort of the Story.
I'm Janey.
And I'm Max.
And I'm Liz.
And that's Liz. And this is the podcast where we tell each other stories, like fairy tales and folk tales and mythology.
And we're very professional about it.
We are on live, and it's going great. And also, you are here.
You are here.
Welcome, guys. And welcome to Liz Gotauco.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. And I don't think anyone should feel bad about being unprofessional, that's in quotes, listener, when it comes to folklore, because folklore belongs to the people. There's nothing professional about it. We're just people.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're professional folklorists in that we're telling you a goddamn story.
Yeah, and it's going to go wherever it goes.
If you want a good podcast, go to NPR.
Those NPR people.
Oh, those NPR
They're
people
professional
are really
talking.
judging us. They've never heard of us, and they never will. Well, welcome to Liz. Liz Gotauco is the author of the new book that just came out. It's called Up Fairytales. It's based off of your amazing series, Up Fairytales with Liz. When I think of the title, I hear you're singing. I hear you saying, Up Fairytales with Liz.
Ding! I know, a lot of my followers are probably pretty devastated that there's no ding on the book. The ding, so in my theme song, there's a ding, which was a follower idea, P.S. They were like, I just feel like there should be like a stinger there. And I was like, you're right. And now if I sing it and there's no ding, oh my God, forget it. Forget it. That's all the comment section is.
Ding?
Where's the ding, Liz? I didn't know how to do that in a book form.
Is it over? How will we know?
We're still in the introduction. I don't know why she's still talking. You know what? I would posit to say that the ding is the little asterisks in Fucked Up.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
At some point, I think my sister who did the illustrations, I was going to have her do a sticker that said ding, so then people could buy that and just like stick it wherever they want. I haven't followed through with that yet.
I love that. Please do that.
Okay. I will also say, because the cover of this book is so amazing, I will also say that the ding could be in the little fuck this, that's all symbols.
Yes.
Symbols.
And the cover, my sister did not do the cover. That was the book designer from Norton, my publisher, Sarah Mae Wilkinson. And it's this delightful, it's like an old, I don't know, public domain illustration from a French version of Cinderella that then she had fun fucking with.
She had fun. I, first of all, love the illustrations. I'm an illustrator. That's like my passion. That was my major. And so I'm going to ask you so many questions about your sister.
Oh, yeah, please do.
But just so you guys know, this book is truly the funniest book ever. And the illustrations are they match your humor so well.
Thank you.
But they're also so professional. Oh, I'm obsessed.
Well, Jada's a scrimshander, which if people don't know what that is, that's understandable because no one does it except for Jade and maybe 5 other people alive. Scrimshaw is an art that is basically like an engraving on ivory. You put ink down, you engrave the drawing in the negative into the ink blot. You put more ink over that, which nestles into the engraving, rub the extra way. And so, I mean, she can do obviously many different things, but because fairy tales are kind of the illustrations for fairy tales, when you think of old ones, are often like line art or wood cuttings or whatever. I knew that kind of that black and white thing would be perfect for her. And also, folklore is an old weird thing, and scrimshaw is an old weird thing. Seemed to work out. It made sense for us.
Yeah, that's what is it called when it's Max, what's the word I'm thinking of? When it's matches. It's historically it matches to the history.
Anachronistic?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the
anachronistic.
Anachronistic.
That's anachronistic.
It doesn't match.
But is acronistic?
Oh. I didn't know. I don't know if the an is a prefix. Anachronistic. If it isn't.
That's anachronistic.
That fits.
Listen, I have an English major, and I say that it's a word. So
get Merriam-Webster on the phone.
I want Merriam and I want Webster. I want Roger.
You guys, I actually
give me all of them.
I have a really big surprise for you. Then I actually invited Merriam and Webster. Let me go ahead and.
Oh my God, I'm gonna cry.
Patch them in.
They're here.
They were alive.
All right. So before we, do what Max and I usually do, which is have an 18-minute intro when we say that we're just going to jump right into it. Before we do that, if you guys don't know who Liz is, Liz, you can find her on TikTok and on Instagram. I believe both under Cosbrarian.
Yep.
Cosbrarian. I can spell.
Yeah, it's like cosplaying librarian.
Yeah, and that's actually perfect. That's a perfect description of exactly what you'll find in her page. She's a librarian, an author, and a storyteller. And I first heard about you when I first started my TikTok journey, which was in 2021, which I feel like if you were going to be an artist or a storyteller on TikTok, 2020 to 2021 was like your only time to jump in.
Truly, I would not be here if I didn't start when we were all at home, tired, bored, and lonely.
And that's exactly what it is. And for whatever reason, being quarantined made everybody be like, I just want somebody to tell me a story, but like a story from my childhood, but like a messed up one.
Well, I think there's like Sorry, I'm already going to get really nerdy on you all. I'm already doing exactly what you predicted about me, which is jumping in and saying, let me tell you about this.
Guys, go listen to the test.
Because I only accidentally became like a fairy tale expert. Again, I'm quoting myself. Because when you become like viral on TikTok for something, you have to become an expert into it. Otherwise, you'll be immediately canceled. And
yes.
I've learned that like fairy tales and folk tales, they often come back. They often have a big moment during like a time of strife, like a pandemic. Mm-hmm. And just like I obviously wasn't the only one hitting with people with fairy tales because you did, Janey. And so like Rebecca Solnit was doing like a live series on Facebook telling fairy tales. And it was just, it's just like this medium that we return to when we are in need.
Yeah. Well, and I think because they're so relevant, like it's like mythology. I got started with mythology, and it was the idea that like all of these stories are relevant today and possibly more so now than you could ever possibly imagine or have predicted. You know, I mean, they're all about people in power abusing those under them.
Absolutely. Right? And I think like, I know in my book I talk about this, but with fairy tales, I think one of the reasons people think they're not relevant anymore is either because they think you grow out of them because they think they're for kids and they're not, or, you know, they think of them as these like antiquated stories or whatever. With mythology, I have to assume there's an antiquatedness, especially because so much mythology is from either like civilizations that maybe don't exist anymore or civilizations that are very marginalized. Mm-hmm. But I love that. I love that when you read them, you see how alike we are, how us and our ancestors aren't that different, even though like we have iPhones and they had cave drawings, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I would posit that the base unit of community is the story, where just anytime you have a group of people together, storytelling is the thing that is most natural to do beyond just like the basics of surviving. So I've recently been trying to date again, and my opening line for everyone has been just like, tell me a story.
Oh, I love that.
Like no qualifications whatsoever. Just tell me like a story about you or a story that you like or just some kind of story. And it's a really great way to just forge a very basic connection. I think that that's the coolest thing about storytelling and folklore.
I have to say, her opening line used to be, tell me a secret. And she got such traumatizing results that she had to switch it up. Turns out men will tell you a secret.
Oh, no. Really dark.
Oh, it's horrifying.
That's awful. I'm so upset.
So bad.
She got one. Can I please tell them one of your secrets that you got?
Yes, go for it.
She got one from a man that said, I got my girlfriend pregnant and I left the state to get away from her.
Jesus Christ.
And like changed his name and never went home.
Yeah.
You're going to tell that to someone you're trying to date?
Yeah, thank you, actually. That's like real big of you to let me know why I'm blocking you.
I guess that's the funny thing is that men just tell their secrets anyway. You don't even have to ask. They tell on themselves.
Yeah,
on these things.
And then later on, they're like, "She was so crazy."
I know.
We were having a nice conversation.
I mentioned it in my book, but it's because it's true that once on Hinge, someone like opened a conversation with me and they were like, "You're so deliciously pale." And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? It means you're either racist or you like dead people.
Or you like dead people.
I'm so upset.
Yeah. Guys, take a class. All right. So, by the way, that line is in my story that I'm going to tell today. And
Sorry, I spoiled it.
Barked. I laughed so hard. So good. Okay, so before we jump into it, because we're telling, Max and I are telling two stories from this book, and truly this is genuinely one of my favorite books I've ever read. I'm so happy we have it. And we're going to tell 2 stories, and then Liz is going to tell us a story as well, and I'm really excited. But before we get into that, we're going to tell you guys how you can hang out with me and Max on the Patreon. Max, take it away.
So our Patreon is where you can come and hang out with us on the Discord. At the $3 level, you get access to the Discord, which is where we hang out with all of our listeners, and it's super fun and super cool. And Janey, I think we should invite Liz if she wants to come.
Liz, you have an invitation for free. We're going to send you a link. Hang out with us. Also, the next tier, I'm letting you come into the next tier for free.
Oh my gosh. Dang.
The next tier for the rest of you guys is $7.
No, it's $4.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Right.
Either way, I'm
okay,
thrilled.
for the $4 tier, you get access to the Discord, and we're your girlfriends.
Yeah, Liz, you want to be our girlfriend?
I do.
Excellent.
Oh, gosh, so many wonderful surprises tonight.
Yeah, I know.
I'm too
We don't do this.
richer.
We don't do this for everyone unless they pay us $4.
And that is your right.
Yeah, it is.
So that's the $4 tier, the girlfriend tier. Or for $7 a month, you get access to the Discord, and we're your girlfriend. And also, you get access to a full-length bonus episode every single month, which is just like one of our regular episodes, but bonuser.
Yep.
And a little bit secret.
It's a little secret.
Not that
Join the
$7.
Patreon.
Yeah. Liz tells you
It's
to
actually
join.
one of my patrons that recommended we hook up and you become my girlfriends. Priscilla, shout out.
Hey, wait.
Hey.
I think
Is
Priscilla's
Priscilla
one of
one
our
of your
patrons. I think she is.
Yeah.
Hey, Priscilla.
Bringing people together.
Priscilla.
What a matchmaker. Amazing. Cool. That's the Patreon. Hey, Max, good plug.
Hey,
that sounds
thanks,
fun.
buddy.
Yeah, it's a fun Patreon. It's a really
appreciate it.
fun
I'd join
little
if I
community.
wasn't just invited to be in it anyway.
And now here's where we rip the rug out from under you and say, we were joking. It's going to cost you $4.
Venmo us immediately.
Immediately. Or we're not releasing the secret episode.
I appreciate businesswomen.
Yeah. Well, we're modern ladies with modern bills. All
We
right.
have to survive. Yeah.
And a modern hustle.
Okay. So with that, I think that we should 20 minutes later, we should jump right into it. So
Yeah.
what we're going to do is I'm going to take a teeny tiny break. Guys, don't go away. Don't be scared. It's going to be like 2 seconds on your end, okay? And then when we come back, I'm going to tell you a story. One of my favorite stories I've read in a very long time. Cool? Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, now I'm ready.
Yeah, Liz, you're giving me the Max treatment where sometimes she'll just stare at me like, no, just end it. Because she says I talk too much.
It's if I'm not doing anything, it's just because I don't want to ruin anything.
Yeah, you're listening. We've never had that impulse.
Sorry, do you need something?
And I'm here. All right. Cool. Well, then we'll be right back. Bye. Okay, Max and Liz.
Okay, Janey.
Hello.
Hello and okay. So
And okay.
this
In Rhode Island, that's how we respond to okay.
Hello. I like it. I'm stealing it. Okay, so the story I'm going to tell you today is the story that is entitled Skin Deep in your book. Hold on, I forgot to point out what section it's under. It's under part
So
4.
actually, in the old fairy tale.
Yeah. Hold on.
my version, it's adapted from actually the title's kind of a spoiler, so maybe I shouldn't reveal.
Well, it does say it. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and reveal it because the story that I'm going to tell you is mostly from the original source. And then I am going to cut back to your book for what I think is very necessary additions that you made to the batshit crazy Giambattista Basile version.
Oh, yeah, we can talk about the where and the why for of those too if you want.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, so the story I'm going to tell you is from part 4, What's Your Body Count? And, I mean, guys, why I chose that one.
But it's actually not. It's not sexy.
It's not that sexy. It's kind of sexy.
Well,
I guess
it's the violence chapter, which for some people is sexy. So you know what? You're right, Janey.
It's the violence chapter. Yeah, so it's from Giambattista Basile's The Flayed Old Woman, and your title is Skin Deep. So what I like about your book is that you put your own stories, like you put your own titles, which I think are really fun. You have Hans Christian Andersen's Little Klaus and Big Klaus, and you title it How to Trick Friends and Execute People. And I just think you get right to the point.
There's like a meme or something that's like, if I don't make a joke out of it, I'll die.
Yeah.
And that's how I approach all my work.
Yeah.
Including titles.
That's fair. I don't know if we were trying to figure out what stories we've told on the podcast, and you were like, have you told this one? Have you told this one? And I went back to be like, yeah, it was on this episode. And then I realized our titles don't help you at all.
Well, you know, our titles are nonsense.
I could have done my fucking homework.
Nope. I was like,
instead I'm just going to ask you.
Yeah, we have a title in there that's like naked bodies in a meat.
Slippery dicks in a meat forest.
Naked butts in a meat forest. Yeah. Anyway, imagine that's a Chinese story.
That sounds great.
Okay. So I'm going to jump right in. Okay.
Sounds good.
I say after a 10-minute repose. All right. So I'm actually going to start with the Jean-Baptiste Basile version. There is a really interesting opening quote that I think that we all need to hear, a lesson for women, if you will. So it begins with this quote. The accursed vanity born with us women is our besetting vice, and through the great longing to seem beautiful and adorn the brow we spoil our faces, to whiten our skin we mar the whiteness of our teeth, and to give light to the limbs we darken our sight, and thus we pay the tribute to time before the hour, enfeebling the eyesight, lining the face, and withering the skin. If a young girl deserveth blame for such emptiness, how much more so an old woman, who, eager to seem young, becometh the laughing-stock of all beholders and the ruin of herself, as I will relate to you, if you lend me an ear. End quote.
Giambattista Basile was definitely the type of guy that would be like, why do you wear so much makeup? Your natural beauty is so important. And then you show up with no makeup and he's like, are you tired?
Are you tired?
You look sick.
today?
It's the type of man who's like gonna rail on women like celebrities and be like, they have so much Botox, or throw them in a pool. And then if they show up on the red carpet without makeup, they're like, ew, old hag. Gross.
Yeah. Old ladies are gross, and ladies who try not to look old are also gross.
Yeah.
Ladies
Women
are gross.
Are gross. If I could just hang out with the dudes all day, I would. Nothing gay. Okay.
Nothing gay about that.
Nothing gay about that. So, the story that they're going to tell, the lend me an ear part, it begins, long ago in the city of Roccaforte, 2 old sisters lived in a small apartment nestled below the king's palace. Liz, you make the amazing decision to name the women, which sometimes we do in our stories. So, I'm going with your names. You call them Lorena and Sophia, and so will I.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Well, you know, it's sometimes it's for the women's sake, and sometimes it's just because it gets confusing.
Well, and that's it.
If you don't.
It's really weird. None of them ever name the people ever. There's like, if there's one name, then everyone else is like the other king. It's like, what's the other king?
And that creates a lot of confusion.
It's a little confusing. So, Max, since you don't know this story, I have some good news. Okay. Mm-hmm. Usually in old fairy tales, as we're both aware, old women are described in a very unflattering light. But Jean-Baptiste Basile paints a very respectful portrait here, and I think that it's going to surprise you a little. So I'm going to go ahead and read the description of these 2 very respectful older women, distinguished, life lived, wise. All right. Quote. They had disheveled hair and wrinkled brow and crooked stiff eyebrows, eyes red and watery, yellow skins full of wrinkles, large and crooked mouths, and hairy breasts. They were hunchbacked with shriveled arms and were lame and cloven-footed. And then he also says they were the most hideous creatures that could be seen. So thank you for that.
Yep. Ugly and disabled.
Ugly and disabled.
As... such a fairy tale trope, isn't it?
And lame. I'm actually going to use both. We're going to use
coming down on disabled folks. What the fuck?
But you didn't tell me anything about their asses. How are the asses?
Oh,
like scale of 1 to 10. Good ass?
Oh,
bad
they've
ass?
got great ass. That's the one thing
okay,
about
well,
them.
that's fine then. That's all I care about.
Oh, I'm sorry. They have. Oh, it says bad. Sorry.
Also bad.
Also bad.
And their asses were terrible.
All right. So these 2 old bitches, they were sitting in a secluded garden area and they were completely hidden from view, as is their prerogative. And they were chatting happily about the king. They were so obsessed with him, quote, that he could not even belch, but that these 2 would talk and observe his doings. So, you know, a little celebrity gossip with your sister.
Oh, this is fascinating. You have to send me the version that you're reading.
I will. It's really good.
Okay, cool. Because I don't remember that tidbit about them, like, whatevering about the king, but
Yeah.
I wish I like it.
Yeah, they're
That's interesting.
gossiping. It says that they're literally just talking about him. Okay. They were also doing their favorite pastime, which was one-upping each other about who was more sick and frail. Girlhood.
Oh, yeah.
So
This sounds like just us at our house. Just like, did you hear about that movie that Dev Patel is going to be in?
Oh, my
also, my back hurts.
oh, your back hurts? Well, Dev Patel farted today, and I have a headache. Classic.
I have a feeling I'm a little older than you two, but there was this commercial on all the time when I was a kid for, I don't even fucking remember, but it featured this like old lady who's like sat down next to a stranger on the bus, and she starts just like complaining about her health to the stranger. And at some point she says like, and then there's this thing with my foot. Hold on, let me get my shoe off. It's just like, I just like kept thinking of her with this story.
Wait, what was that
like,
even
again-
a commercial for?
Probably healthcare, something health related, I think.
Okay. Are you an old woman who's inappropriate? You need our business.
I was like, maybe that's a universal experience. I don't know.
Maybe. That's basically what they're doing.
Let's check back in 30 years.
Yeah. We'll see how we're doing. At one point while she was talking, a jasmine flower fell on Lorena's head, and she threw herself down and she screamed, "I've been hit on my head! Oh my God! This heavy flower, it just crushed my head!" And as she's holding her head and just, pretending to bleed everywhere. Not to be outdone, Sophia told her sister, I know what you mean. Earlier today, a letter floated onto my shoulder and it nearly dislocated my arm. Why must a single piece of paper with dirty limericks written on it be so heavy and so violent? She was going to send it to somebody, don't worry. To which Lorena replied, "Oh, well, all this dust out here is choking me to death. I'm so delicate and frail I might die from the flower fluff." And so they're just going back and forth, being cool, talking about how fragile they are. I wrote, "They're over here being unbelievably sexy, which normally wouldn't be a big deal, except that the king happened to be walking by at this time. And he overheard these two women complaining about their bird bones and their paper lungs, and he was naturally rock hard over this." He's like, oh my God.
Oh yeah, because that's like a fairy tale thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you're sensitive, you're the it girl.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, so my favorite, you have your little asides in bold, which is like your voice, which is so good. And it just says, you wrote, Cosmo headlines of the day would read, "Princess of the Pea spills her sensitivity secrets. Plus, I ride him so hard you fall off all 20 mattresses."
Originally, that joke was like it was like about academic papers. I was like studies about these women at the time
Yeah.
would have been called like the methodology of peas. I don't know. And my editor was like, "I don't understand this joke in this story." So we like kind of readapted it. And I was like, okay, well, if it's about like beauty standards and stuff,
Yeah.
then it should be a magazine.
God, it's so good.
Thank you.
I found that also interesting because being like, oh, you have to be overly sensitive. But if you look at like the Irish, they were like, no, sturdy, stable. We need them. You can't knock them over. Like, we need to be able to lift every potato that we hand them. Like, yeah, just a really interesting dichotomy. Europeans just want.
Yeah, depending where you go. Scottish tales too. I feel like there's like it's a different type of woman who sometimes steps up to be the hero of a fairy tale, and I love it.
It's great.
Yeah. We've seen both kinds, I think, in Chinese stories.
Yeah.
Where sometimes it's like, she was so delicate that like a gentle breeze knocked her over and she started crying and her tears were snowflakes. And then we've also had the ones where it's like, she came up and just picked this guy up and carried him up the mountain.
Yeah.
Because he was being a little baby about it.
I told the story, The Three Strong Women. It's a Japanese tale, and they literally like wrestle him. They make grandma wrestle him. It's really good.
I love that.
Oh yeah, that one. I remember that one.
Okay, so the king is super turned on, and he decides he must have these gorgeous, sensitive babes. So he calls out, quote, Where art thou hidden, thou most precious jewel? Come out and let me see you and worship you and let you bounce on it gently." And so part of that is a direct quote. Okay, here's another quote from the Jean-Baptiste de Sille version. It says, "These and other words did the king say." And oh boy, other words he says. He has like huge long pages of monologues.
Yeah, bitch can't stop talking.
He cannot. It says, but he could ring Gloria. The old women's ears were deaf to his prayers, and it was like adding fuel to the fire. As he's talking, he is building an imaginary woman in his head. Like, the more he talks about how gentle she is, the more he's, like, turning himself on with this image of what he thinks this woman could possibly look like.
Yeah, because they're, like, under trees or something.
Yeah, he's just hearing
he just,
a
like,
voice.
hears them.
Yeah, he's hearing complaining, which, honestly, if he likes complaining, he should come over here. He would love our house.
No, you don't want that man in your house, Janey.
No, sorry, not invited. I revoke it. I revoke the invitation. So he's thinking to himself, like, this woman is so hot. If I don't have sex with her, I'm going to die from blue balls, which we all know is real. And I'll give you guys a moment to be really sad about that.
A moment for blue balls.
A moment.
Yeah, just a moment of silence for all the good men lost to.
It's the least we could do. Okay. And that's over. The old woman heard him and listened, and they were stunned because, of course, they recognized his voice. And at first they were like, who's this guy talking to? They're like looking around like, oh, wow, it's weird that he's right out there. And then the more he's talking, like the longer he talks, the more they're realizing like, oh my God, he's talking about us. We're the gorgeous young women, not old, gross women undeserving of love. Well, this has never happened to us. So the king came back day after day. So like they didn't talk to him the first day, but he just kept returning. And whenever he would hear them talking, he would like jump in with his monologue of like, you're so beautiful, clearly, please give me but a single word. And finally, one day the old women decided to respond, quote, so as not to let this opportunity escape them to catch this fine bird, who of his own accord came to throw himself in the snare. So this isn't their fault. He did this to himself. So you mentioned this in the story, Liz, but you talk about how every once in a while, Basile will be weirdly self-aware. Like he'll say like, yeah, you know what? In this society, this happens. And then he'll go right back to victim blaming. But I do think that this was a weird one of like, he says, you know, he did this to himself. Of his own accord, he decided to hit on women he's never seen before.
Yeah, that's true. He's like throwing you a bone before he takes the bone and smacks you over the head with it.
Yeah, before he snaps it in half and throws it in the trash.
Yeah, just kidding.
Not for you.
And that's true. I mean, God, what the fuck is this king thinking?
This guy did this to himself.
Like, he's making up an entire story based on mere words.
Listen, I would be lying if I hadn't done the same.
It's true. We all want things to be.
Read enough books to know that I can't be trusted.
We've all put celebrities on a pedestal.
That's exactly it.
We should not have done.
That's true.
This man just did it with two strangers.
So the sisters, they talked it out, and they finally decided to tell the king that if he came back in 8 days, they would reward his patience by showing him one of their hottest, sexiest fingers.
Ooh.
Max, how do you feel about that? Would you be turned on by a hot finger?
I would love that. Yeah, I would. Which one is it?
Oh, that's a good.
I hope it's the thumb.
That's a good follow-up question. The most important finger. Arguably.
Honestly, you can learn a lot about someone looking at their thumbs, I would say.
I'm just imagining what's the rhyme, the nursery rhyme of the kid with the thumb in the pie? Georgie Porgy. Yeah.
Georgie Porgy. Yeah, you're right.
And Georgie Porgy grosses me out. So no thumbs for me.
No, you would want the dainty little pinky finger.
No, I want a good pointer finger. I don't
really.
I don't have to point at you like that.
Whichever finger can do the most sexy stuff, I think is probably the sexiest. So that it's not the same for everyone.
That's true.
What a sexy thing is.
That's true. If you have a particularly long middle finger that goes above the other ones, it might be that one. Just for
it might be that one.
Logistics.
Maybe you're turned on by
wouldn't
opposability.
It be so incredible if they were like, come back in 8 days and we'll show you our sexiest finger, and they come back and he's just like middle fingers.
Middle fingers up. Got him.
Fuck you creep.
That's how our rewrite goes. Okay.
If only they did.
Yeah.
The king, being an expert soldier, knew that fortresses are taken inch by inch, and therefore refused not the offer, hoping thus to win step by step his will of this strong place, which he besieged unceasingly, knowing the old adage, take first and ask afterwards.
Ugh.
Yeah, isn't that chilling?
Yeah, it's really scary.
That's an awful one.
Also kind of like an interesting moment of like Basile being pretty, I don't know, not self-reflective, but like there are men who do think about dating like that.
Yep. Yeah.
That it's all about conquest. So,
Yeah.
like, is he commenting on it, or is he just saying it like it is? I don't know.
Seeing how his fairy tales end, because, we've done a couple of his, and he's kind of violent towards women. And so, like, I'm going to guess he doesn't see the problem in this. I do think he thinks the king is a victim in this. The old women spent all day, every day for the next 8 days, trimming their nails and filing them down and soaking their fingers in oil, really moisturizing. And they agreed that on the 8th day, they would compare their fingers, and whoever had the hottest digit would be the one to show that to the king. The king, meanwhile, was having a hell of a time being patient. Oh, God. I have another little monologue to read. I'm reading a lot of his lines, and I'm sorry that you have to hear him talk, but I had to read it, so,
That's the fun of it.
Yeah. Quote, he, impatiently waiting, counted the days, dragged on the nights, weighed the hours, measured the moments, noted the points, and examined carefully the atoms that should elapse till the longed-for good should be vouchsafed to him, beseeching the sun to shorten his ways through the heavenly fields, so that he should sooner reach the end of his daily route and water his fiery steeds, tired of their long journey. And he adjured the night to chase away all darkness, and let him gaze on the light that, yet not seen, made him burn in a furnace of love. And he apostrophized time, saying that he walked on crutches and had put on leaden boots to spite him, so that the hours should not arrive so quickly in which his obligation should be fulfilled. Show me the finger! I want to see it!
It's a really long way to say he jerked off every night.
Every night! He's just really eager.
Down so historically badly.
So finally, the day came. He ran as fast as his balls would allow him to their garden gate. He knocked eagerly, and Sophia, the oldest, ugliest sister, with the smoothest little finger, shoved her lubed-up finger through the keyhole. And this one's from Liz. Liz says, she might as well have gone straight for the prostate. The king was overwhelmed with the hotness of Sophia's pampered extremity.
That's how down he has it. One finger, and he's like, jizz in his pants, I guess. I don't know how gross I can be on your podcast, but...
Grosser than that. We promise.
For all of our 69 episodes, which has been 2 so far, because we're not, we haven't been doing this for 20 years. But for every 69 episode, we try to do our grossest, sexiest stories.
Nice.
And we read James Joyce's love letters, if you've ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are nasty. I love them.
So bad.
Yeah. Well, and Basile's good for that, too.
Yes, he is.
Especially if I don't know, again, I don't know what translation you read, but Nancy Canepa did like kind of like the ultimate translation of his stuff, and they're fucking filthy. She puts in all the swears.
Yes.
And these are like from the authentic language of him. He really, really went for it. So
Yeah, I got like an old version.
yeah. You might be reading like a Victorian version where they probably were like, let's temper it down a little bit. But in the 17th century in Italy, he would have been like, yeah, man, he was just jonesing for
He's
a
gross.
little action in his butthole by that beautiful finger,
But also, that's the imagery that they're using. Her sticking her finger through a keyhole is like very specific.
For sure. For sure.
Italians. So, the king grabbed the finger and he immediately began making out with it. Oh, I'm going to show you the picture.
Oh, no.
Max!
There's a picture.
Jade really nailed this picture. I laughed so hard when she first sent it to me.
Here you go, Max.
Oh, that's bad. She's poking her finger out through a keyhole.
Yeah.
And he's just got the longest, wiggliest tongue and the, like, absolute worst bedroom eyes that he's just about to lick this finger. Oh, it's so gross.
Yeah, Jade did this like
horrifying.
split scene so that you see like on the one side of the door, you see this old lady's gnarly arm and their dark house. And then on the other side, you see the king just going for that finger. And it's so vile. It's so vile.
Good. God, these illustrations.
And I like that the picture. So the picture is the first thing you see before you even start the story. So a lot of you're like, what's gonna go down in this story?
She also has a quote. So it's just like the H.J. Ford illustrations. That's what I like about it, right? Like she clearly has studied fairy tale illustrations, which we also talk about a lot. But they always have a quote from the book, and the quote that she chose to put in this story is "one jelly meat suit."
Yeah, it's a little game, actually, which when Jade was little, actually, we never talked about this when we were making the book. She loved the book Animalia by Graham Base. Do you remember that?
Kind of.
It's like a puzzle book for kids where, like a Where's Waldo or whatever, you find all these details in the illustration. And so that section, she makes a little game out of it because it's called What's Your Body Count? And then, so if you look in the illustrations, she actually tracks the body count of each story.
That's cool. What?
But it's what that is in relation to.
9. This one says 9. Is that in the cat's tail? Did I find it?
No, the jelly meat suit is the body
1.
count.
Oh, 1. I was looking for numbers hidden in it. I was like, I did it!
Yeah, there's only one person that dies in this.
That's true. That's true. You're
truly
right.
in the jelliest meat suit way, you'll see.
Maybe the kings had sex with 9 people. I don't know. All right. So he grabs her finger and he starts making out with it. He's really tonguing it to death. And then he says, "Oh, my sweetheart, if thou hast shown me the tail by the keyhole, put there thy lips, and we will have a jelly of happiness." If thou...
What's with the jelly?
If thou hast shown part of thy sweet meats, O thou river of beauty, let me behold all thy body. Let me behold those eyes of hawk peregrine, and let them wither and scorch mine heart with their love and glances. Show me your meats.
It's very Cinderella.
She has the meats.
You know, he sees one finger and he's like, give me the rest.
I want
It's
everything.
Yeah.
The prince sees one shoe and he's like, that's going to be a hot lady. Who
Oh,
wears a shoe
God,
like
look
that?
how small it is.
This dame is finger licking good.
She is finger looking good.
Ew. It's so true. Actually, I'm really mad that I didn't think of that. That should have been in my book.
It could have been the title, finger looking good.
Anniversary edition.
Honestly, good.
I'll send you royalties, Max.
Thank you.
All right. I would like to also point out Max is now in the span of 1 minute. You put out 2 different fast food slogans. She said, "Show me, we've got the meats."
Yeah. This is a sponsored episode.
Yeah. Guys, go to Arby's.
Sponsored by Arby's
And KFC.
Also KFC.
Are we recording during dinner time?
A little bit hungry.
No, I had so much tortellini earlier. It was great.
So, as you guys can imagine, the king's monologue went on for way longer than what I actually read. If he was a man on Tinder today, he'd be wall of text guy. So, I don't know if you got that already, but that's him. And he continued, quote, "Come out of that pit, issue forth from those stables, come out of that hole, leap, sweet May, and give thine hand to Cola, and pay me what I am worth. Thou knowest that I am a king. I am not a cucumber. I can bid and forbid." He's a king,
Is
not
the opposite of a king a cucumber?
I think he's making a dildo reference. I think he's saying,
sure.
I've got the meats.
Oh.
Dick
And-
joke, dick joke.
I think that's what he's saying. So at this point with this speech, Lorena and Sophia, they kind of start to worry because they're like, up until now, we were kind of down with the whole lubing up our finger and letting him have a good taste. But he is a king. He can force us to come out of hiding and he can do it right now. And then he would know that we've been catfishing him and we'd probably be executed. So They suddenly start to realize, and Liz, you say that here. You say that basically the story's moral is clearly about how vanity is wrong, but Babsile is making a point that unbalanced power is also a very, it's a harsh reality to live in.
An undeniable thing. And again, it's hard to say if he's being like, ladies, if the king tells you got to do it, you got to do it.
Yeah.
Or if he's saying these poor women have gotten themselves in a real sticky situation.
And, kind of a pickle.
Or the king's put them in one.
Yeah. You do say the guy's got a talent for simultaneously victimizing and victim blaming his characters. And I think that's a really good point here. Okay. So Sophia answered him and she was like, "Ooh, yes, of course. If you command it, obviously, I'll have to have sex with you." Because that's what he's commanding. She's like, I'll put my cucumbers away. King is here. He groaned and tongued her fingers some more. And then she gave him her one request. Oh my God, their faces are so upset. They didn't like
Just to be clear, I'm not shaming anyone who enjoys their finger being sucked. I think in the context, it's all about context.
It's all about context.
Situation.
Yeah, what she's saying is she thinks the elderly are gross. So.
Oh, no. That's not true. Read my book, you'll see.
All right. So.
I also just feel like the doorknob has to be so wet by now. That finger's got to taste like nickels.
Ew. Okay, so she was like, "I'm going to give you one request. Let me keep my modesty. Let's do it with the lights off." And so he agrees, and he runs back home as fast as he can. That whole day, the king could not think about anything but that hot little body that surely accompanied that sexy-ass finger. And the old woman couldn't think about anything except how to not get immediately executed by the king for catfishing. So what I like about this is because, Liz, I'm going to read your sentence right now because you are describing exactly what happens in the story, except that you're doing it in the funniest way. You say, quote, all the king did was douse himself in ye old Dracar Noir, which is true. But Sophia, with her sister's help, tugged and clamped the loose parts of her flesh to her back in order to lift her bosom and buttocks and everything else they could lift. So they're primping. Girlhood.
I feel so bad for her.
I know. I'm imagining too, like, bulldog clips. Just like the way that you like do the model dresses.
Yes, that's exactly what I was imagining too.
Sophia was brought in by the guards, wrapped up in heavy clothes, with a veil over her face because she's so modest and so shy. And as soon as she got to the dark bedroom, she quickly got naked and jumped into the bed. And the king hurried in, and he immediately jumped into the bed with her. He like dove head first. Michael Phelps. It was a good thing the king was wearing so much cologne. This is in the story. Quote, so that he could not smell the stink of her mouth and the vinegar of her armpits and the mustiness of that ugly thing.
What ugly thing? I'm sorry.
Not you. Fuck you, Giambattista.
I love Liz. Fuck you, Janey.
Yeah, sorry. That was at the original author.
Yeah. Anyway, that ugly thing is pretty musty. It didn't matter how dark the room was, though, because the king had hands and he could feel. He immediately knew something was off. Quote, oh, Max, this is going to answer your question. Quote, he felt her bottom and found it fleshless.
Oh. Fleshless.
Fleshless. That's a what's it called? Foreshadowing. The limbs thin and withered, and the breasts as empty bladders. Aw. And then Liz says, not to mention whatever the fuck was happening on this lady's backside.
Truly. She looks like a mannequin at the mall.
To keep up, that line made me cackle. Like,
I'm
so sad. To keep up the illusion, though, the king decided to ignore all this, and he closed his eyes and thought of England. When they were done, the old woman began honk-shoeing pretty immediately. This is a pretty intense day for her. Took a little nap. When he was sure she was asleep, the king snuck out of bed, like Psyche, lit a candle, and snuck over to get a peek of the woman he had just had sex with. And gross! It was an old... Disgusted, the king screamed to his servants, who all came running immediately, and the story's like they barely had time to put on their shirts. I don't know why they needed that, but...
Everyone sleeps naked in that castle.
Yeah, and they were all hot, and they liked me. Okay. The king said, quote, behold, what trick hath this witch of Satan played me? Thinking I had a suckling lamb, I find an old buffalo. Believing I held in hand a dove, I find an owl. Supposing I was enjoying a mouthful worth of a king, I find between mine hands this filthy morsel sickening to taste. That's not what you said last night.
All right.
Then he told them to throw her out the window like she deserved. So Sophia, she scratches and claws. Sophia puts up a fight. She starts biting people. She says, quote, no, sorry, it's not a quote. She says, you literally made me come here. And then she said, and this is a quote, an old fowl maketh good soup, my lord.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
Yeah, she's like, hey.
But was it good for you?
He came, clearly.
You seemed to enjoy it. But this weirdly did not sway him at all, and out the window she went. So, this fall would surely have killed her in any other circumstance, but there was a fig tree outside, and her hair got all tangled up in one of the branches. So instead of dying, she just kind of hanged out there naked in the open air. Just like, God. You know. The thing is like, oh, and it didn't break her neck, so good for her.
No, fairy tale, hair strength.
Yeah.
But she still got like a skin ponytail coming out of her back.
Yes.
Was a skin ponytail? At around dawn, a group of really sad fairies came passing by. Max, something terrible had just happened to them. Anyway, they were...
Are you curious about what?
Yeah.
Is it jelly related?
Maybe. Yeah, we don't know what. The story,
We don't know.
In your book, in your version, you were like, yeah, we're not going to get it. And so then when I looked up this one, I was like, we might get a little thing. I don't know why I was doubting you. I was like, there's got to be something. And it literally is like, they were sad. Oh, but they saw this lady and they were happy. It's really weird.
Yeah, we don't know why. That's a side novel.
And you do mention that French.
Maybe I'll write that.
Yes. Wattpad where? So whenever I want a side novel, I tell the listeners to write me a Wattpad about it. You do say that French fairy tale writers are better at providing fae backstories, and that's true, and we complain about it a whole lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if this was a French fairy tale, the fairy tale would have stopped right there. And 100 pages later, we would have known everything that went down in the fairy kingdom that led to this moment of them being outside the tree and being sad.
Yeah, absolutely. And I usually complain about that, because it's why I don't love reading a Tolkien book, and Max is mad at me for that. But you know what? In this instance, we do need it. So we don't know why they're all sad, but they really are. And they hadn't spoken for a long time. But seeing the sad, naked old woman, and you wrote, now slowly rotating like a rotisserie chicken, all of the fairies burst out laughing. And they laughed and they laughed and they laughed. They fell over backwards. They held their stomachs. It was knee-slapping good time. The story of this night, it was told for years after. This is the real Tyler Perry film for them. Wiping away their tears, they thanked this old woman for her hilarious joke. It was just what they needed. So, to repay her for her kindness, they all decided to give her a gift. One of them said, "Mayest thou become young?" And that would have been enough, actually. that would have been good. Another said, "Mayest thou become beautiful?" Another said, "Mayest thou become rich?" And the next one, "and noble." And another one, "and virtuous," which is, don't put that on me. And the next one say, "May all folk love thee." And the last said, "Be thine all good fortune," which I think is a cop-out. Add something. You're already rich. So, I don't know. And lucky. Then they all disappeared with a pop, leaving this young, hot, rich, beloved creature seated on a velvet throne, surrounded by servants. One of the servants held up a golden mirror to her face, and she gasped, seeing how young and supple her skin was, how bright her eyes were, how all of her teeth were where they should be. And unfortunately for this, the story specifies, quote, "Her face was as the face of a young girl, just 15, so beauteous that all other beauties would seem like old slippers near satin shoes."
Good God.
Anyway, we didn't need the age.
Ew.
Meanwhile, the king had wrapped himself up in a blanket like he was the victim in an episode of Law and Order SVU.
It's like shaking.
Yeah, he's wrapped around. It's like one of those foil blankets like you get at marathons. And he donned his slippers and he poked his head out the window to say, "And one more thing." But then, instead of seeing the old woman, he saw the super sexy 15-year-old and he fell madly in love. He ran downstairs as fast as he could, and he threw himself at her feet, and he said, "Oh, doved face mine, oh, thou graceful doll, oh, thou pigeon from Venus's car. Triumph of love, thou hast put this heart in soak in the river Sarno." No one's ever called me a pigeon in Venus's car.
No, I know.
Romance is dead.
I really want to drill down into that sentence. Just like, I know that this isn't what they meant, but I am picturing someone driving their car around and a pigeon just flies in the window.
And it's so beautiful.
What could the meaning of that be?
These days, men just like come right out with it. They're like, "Show me those tits."
Yeah, they never say.
They don't even give you a flowery monologue about what a beautiful pigeon you are.
Yeah, you are Venus's pigeon, which is a good Discord name for anybody who wants to take it.
Venus's pigeon. Good band name, too. I think. Like 90s girl rock.
Hell yeah. Ooh, it would be. So all his trauma is forgotten. Thank God for hotties. He continued his weirdly long monologue, begging for pussy, and he ended with, "If thou do not believe me worthy to possess thy beauteous form, at least give me a safeguard of good words, a guide and a promise, and a deed of expecting hope. And if thou dost not, I will die, and thou wilt lose the form." And in your story, you have her saying, "Sure." And then the monologue continues. And then he launches into another weird and wordy sonnet. Finally, he asked her to be his wife, and she said, "I guess," and the wedding was set. Hooray! They planned the wedding immediately, and the king ordered all the nobles in his kingdom to come. And Sophia was like, "And my sister." And I'm sure he was like, "Okay." And he expected another young, hot woman, and then super old woman goes.
He was like, "Yeah, three-way."
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, never mind." And also, how old are your parents?
Yeah, what's the situation here? quite an age gap.
I know. Sophia invited Lorena, and at first she was like, I'm not going to go. But after a lot of persuasion by servants, Lorena finally agreed, and she was surprised to find that she was seated right next to the hot young queen. What the hell? And it took her a long time to realize this PYT was actually her sister made young again. So in this one, you quantify that by saying she looks like her sister did when she was younger. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know why she would look like a totally new person, unless the fairies were just like, let's make her look like who we think would be the most beautiful person, which I guess is possible. But like, to me, it's more impactful if like you as like an old Lorena, if she comes in and she sees like 15-year-old her sister, then it's like, oh my God, this is real and I need to know why.
I do like the idea because the very first gift that the fairies gave her was, you're young. And I love the idea that she's becomes young and they're all like, ugh, and hot. All right.
Yeah, so Lorena's seeing not only the younger version of her sister, but like the most beautiful version that she wasn't even before.
The version of her that you can't throw in a pool. Hashtag natural beauty. Okay, so
the yassified version.
The yassified version of her.
Yeah, perma TikTok filter.
So she's of course happy that her sister isn't dead, which is like her first thought when she never came home. But also, she's kind of like suspicious. She says, quote, the old woman could not eat because other hunger consumed her entrails. End quote. Also, when I say she said, I mean Jean-Baptiste Basile, not Liz. You don't mention other hunger consuming her entrails.
No.
She asked her sister how this had happened and how has she had been made young. She's like, what's the secret? And the queen was like, why don't you just finish your dinner now and we'll talk about this later. And on her other side, the king was like, what did she want? And Sophia's like, more green sauce, my love. And so he has like 1,000 condiments sent to her, which is not what she asked for. It's too many sauces and none of them are green.
No, but she doesn't want to be found out.
Yeah. But Lorena didn't care about no stinking sauces. She wanted to be young. So she pulled on her sister's sleeve again and she said, tell me how you did it so I can do it too. And Sophia's like, we can talk about this later. I promise. Just eat your food and enjoy yourself. And the king, who's nosy, he leaned over and he says, what'd you say? What was that? She said, oh, she wants dessert. And the king ordered way too many desserts to be brought to Lorena's place. But Lorena didn't care about no stinking dessert. She wanted her round ass back, damn it. So she pestered and she nagged until finally Sophia snapped, okay, fine. You want to know how I did it? I had them flay me, sister. Are you happy? And Lorena was like, I have to go.
What a wild thing to say.
It sounds like just like, oh, you want to know how I did it? I took off all my skin. Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, and I justified it a little bit that way too. That I was just like that. Well, not only was she just like saying something to shut her up, yeah, but like saying something that she would never do, yeah, because if you read my version. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you why later, but I did build up a little bit more of like a jealousy relationship between the two sisters, which doesn't really exist in the original. They're just kind of like two ladies who could be interchangeable. Yeah. But in my version, like Lorena's always been jealous of Sophia and her beauty, and she really gets Sophia into this situation. Yeah. So then to me, like Sophia's like, I flayed myself because she's like, I don't want you to have what I have. Yeah. You pushed me into this. I earned this. You didn't. Yeah. You know. Yeah. But it's really random.
It does read well in yours, and you're right. This just like suddenly she's like, I skinned myself.
Like, why would you ever say that?
Lorena immediately decided that if that's what worked for her sister, that's what she would do too. And Liz says, quote, I'm not about to let you get all the glory. I'll find my own fortune. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to take a dump. and then Liz says, always the perfect excuse. No one asks follow-up questions. They've already received too much information. And that's true. Yep.
I know some of you don't like to talk about poop, but that's the reason you have to. If you have to get out of a situation, you say, I'm sorry, I have to shit. And no one's going to ask you any other questions.
That's diarrhea time
Perfect.
Again. Okay.
Like, please go.
Lorena left and she went straight to the barber. Because back in those days, your barber was also your skin peeler. So she handed him some money and she said, here are 50 ducats. Skin me alive, please. And the barber said, get out. And Lorena said, you're going to be real mad at yourself for passing up this wonderful opportunity to skin an old woman alive. I promise you that. If my plan works, you'll be famous. Famous! And the barber said, lady, is there like somebody we can call? Like a caretaker, maybe, like a nurse that you've clearly escaped from? Like, where are you from? So they argued for a long time. By the way, you do have that in exchange almost exactly like that in the book. And I thought that that was a Liz thing, but then I read it and that's kind of exactly how it goes.
I actually do try to, as much as possible, like mirror stuff in the old fairy tale, either to like, you know, kind of maintain the style that Basile would be going for here. So, like, the king is, like, a blah, blah, blah man.
Yeah.
And it's vulgar because he's vulgar. And to me, that, like, kind of honors the old fairy tale while I can still find my own voice in it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. But I was just really surprised that this barber really was like, is there... do you belong to somebody?
No, I mean, would you want to skin someone alive?
Like,
I sure would try to get out of it.
Clearly going through it. So they argued for a long time until finally the barber consented. He sat her down and he began to skin her. And even though it was obviously very painful, she gritted her teeth and she said, beauty is pain. She let it keep going. But even though she was being brave, when he reached her navel, she finally expired in her chair. Quote, the barber continued his work, and she continued her stay, till at last the barber reached the navel, when her strength failed her, and giving vent to a strong wind in sign of departure, died. And then Liz's story ends with, adding insult to her grievous injury, her last words were a long, fetid fart. And I just wrote, Italians.
This fucking guy, Basile, you haven't humiliated these people enough.
Yeah, he literally ends her with a fart. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
And then you write that the moral is, envy will eat away at you right down to the bone. End quote.
Funnily enough, that story was in my proposal that got me my book deal.
Ooh.
And despite this, when my editor came to it to give me feedback, he was like, I don't know, Liz, this one's really fucked up.
Like,
and I was like, yeah, bitch, I put it
Title
in my
of book.
You gave me a book deal.
read the title.
So that's when he was like, I think we need, no one deserves this, but I think we need to do something to make it a little more like Lorena. She got what's coming to her, at least in fairy tale world, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I ended up building up this more like Lorena pushes Sophia into it. And so Sophia's the innocent, Lorena's not. Because otherwise it's just like this poor sad old lady trying to be pretty and dying in the worst way possible.
And that is true because like even in like Cinderella, you know, like the stepsisters, they get, you don't want to say they get what's coming to them, but like they kind of get what's coming to them, you know, like they have actions that like make this thing, but their worst thing is that the king is like, you're hot. And they're like, okay.
Yeah. And that they had the audacity to be like, yeah, we are hot.
Yeah,
sir. And that they went through with it because they had no other choice. And he says that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
They would have stopped the catfish at some point, I think, but like...
Well, I kind of feel bad. So the best thing about the story to me is that, again, this is a kind of a universal thing still to this day, right? This is still how we treat, this is like exaggerated, but this is still how we treat older women. We kind of, as society, give them the Leonardo DiCaprio treatment, right? Of like, be 25 or get the hell off my boat. And so this is a really good, I think, representation of this, as crazy as it is. But if you guys, I was just listening to this today, we have in the past told another story that has the same kind of archetype, right? Of like old woman who marries a young guy or who, you know, cons her way into this young marriage and everyone hates her. There is a version of The Marriage of Sir Gawain. It's from, I can't remember her name. It's from the second Virago Book of Witches, and it's fantastic. But it is about King Arthur, who is trying to solve a riddle, and he can't. And at the very last minute, before he's going to die for not solving this riddle, an old woman gives him the answer, and she's like, you know, and he says, thank you. And he accepts it from her. And as soon as he gets it, she says, great. And I want to marry one of your hottest knights. And he's like, fuck. Oh, no. And the whole story talks about how everybody's like, you know, retching at the sight of her. And they're like, oh, she's so gross. And she's wrinkled. And oh, her hair is gray. And it is it's the exact same type of descriptions of an older woman. But the ending of it is Sir Gawain saying, like, you know, she didn't ask to be like this. Like, you know, she saved the king. Why are we all treating her like this? And that breaks the spell and makes her hot again, which isn't a great moral. But it's a better, more empathetic view, I think.
And he also, if I remember correctly, it also ties back to that riddle, which was like, what does a woman truly want?
Exactly.
And the answer is something like they want to be able to
decide things. for themselves.
decision. And so when she's like, I can be hot or I can be beautiful, or I can be hot for you, Gowan, or I can be ugly.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? You decide.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Poof.
She says, should I be hot in the daytime or hot at nighttime? And he's like, this is not up to me. You're the one that has to be hot.
Yeah. I love that story. It's
You're
so
the one
good.
that
And
has to be hot.
Yeah.
it's so good. I'm so glad it exists because it's easy to think that all of the stories were like what Batista Basile would have said, you know?
Yeah.
But no, that there were people being like, actually, it could be like this.
Exactly. Yeah, it's great. Anyway, I love these types of stories, as hard as they are to read, because this one's a little hard to read, but hilarious.
It is a little hard to read. And I did worry about that, but then I will say that at some point during my editing process, The Substance came out.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Which someone at Norton commented on, but like talk about a woman, and I won't spoil it, but like a woman who truly does a bunch of shit to her body to be young, and it's the same thing. Yeah. It's the same message.
Exactly.
Oh, thanks for sharing that terrible story.
With this, let's take a little break, and then we'll come back and we'll hear another story.
Sure.
Awesome. Okay, we'll be right back. Bye.
Okay, Janey.
Okay, Max.
Okay, Liz.
Okay.
Hello.
Both of you. Okay, Max.
Oh, hello.
Wait, I'm picking it up finally.
Yay. Girlfriend.
The story that I have for you today, the title of the original story is The Buzzard Husband. Liz has titled it When a Bird Loves a Woman, which...
I love Michael Bolton.
When a bird loves a woman. Can I say, so I got my hands on this book first, and I got to like flip through and stuff like that. And when I was picking my story, I clocked The Buzzard Husband as something Max would pick. Like, it was it was the only one that I picked. And so when she said Buzzard Husband, I was like, yeah. I didn't read it. I didn't read it. It was just based off of the title, When a Bird Loves a Woman. I was like, I bet Max is going to go for that one. I feel very good and cool.
Well, I've since learned Max's backstory, so
with the vultures.
Yeah. I actually also clocked the Flayed woman as the one that you were going to do. I was like, I bet Jane's going to do that one. It sounds fucked up.
This is a really good best friend test. Everybody go by the book and then like write down what story you think your best friend would choose from that book.
Because I love this idea.
Yeah.
Great marketing idea.
Hell yeah. Best friend test. And then post it on social media and you'll get 10% off at KFC. Finger looking good.
That's a real store.
All right. So this story, Liz has fabulously sourced it from The Mythology of Mexico and Central America by John Beerhorse, which I have a copy of, which I felt very cool about. I was like digging through my stacks of books and I was like, I swear to God, I have this book. And I do. And I'm very proud of myself.
Cool.
Yes. This is accompanied by an unrelated picture of the Aztec god, rain god Tlaloc from a carving.
Oh, beautiful.
Here, but
yeah, I don't have that in my version. I'm jelly.
Oh, jelly.
I have a jelly meat suit.
Yeah, go back to the jelly, actually.
There's no time. In a way, we're all
I just want to go
jelly.
back to the jelly. This is originally from an anonymous source in the Tsutujil culture, reprinted in the collection of Orteana's folk literature of Tsutujil Maya.
Easy for you to say.
It's really not. I was in here while we were during the break and I was just whispering it to myself. I was like, say it right the first time. All right. The Buzzard Husband. Liz has done a spectacular job with this story, kind of filling out a lot of the details because the version that I have, at least, is pretty sparse. Yeah. So I'm going to tell it closer to Liz's version just because I think that you've done a fantastic job with
thank you
filling in the gaps and making it a more entertaining story. So thank you. There once was a man and he was so lazy. He didn't even want to go out into the fields. He did not want to chop firewood. He didn't want to do absolutely anything except for sleep all day on a pile of his wife's tortillas.
What?
Literally.
I mean, actually,
lazy and wasteful.
that does sound nice.
It does sound comfy.
It's not bad.
None of us want to work.
And all of us
No.
like tortillas.
Yeah, and sleeping.
Yeah.
I want to be a little quesadilla. Just
Wrap me up.
there you go. Put me out in the sun.
Yeah.
Melt some cheese on me.
Oh, delicious.
But in fairy tales, that's
Yeah.
bad.
Oh, yeah. Lazy.
Yes.
Bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. The original story says that he wants a woman's life because everyone knows women don't do anything
That's insane because
His
as I
wife.
talk about
because of all the things that women do.
yeah. And the culture, I told a version from the Tzotzil Mayans, and like their girls from like age 5 are taught all of these chores that like directly contribute to the family economy. So he's not living a woman's life.
No.
No.
And also, the story makes a point to say that his wife is the one who made the tortillas. Like,
Yeah.
go fuck yourself,
So
dude.
You want to live a woman's life? Go cook breakfast for your fucking wife,
Go
bro.
run
Yeah.
your household.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It really throws it away. It literally just says he wanted a woman's life. And then
Don't we
is
all?
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a pretty good
I
life.
want
This mythical woman.
I want the life that men think women have. He has a wife and he has children, obviously, but he doesn't really do anything to support them. He kind of just hangs out all the time and he falls asleep in the fields, and his wife always asks him, you know, hey, how was work? And he's like, it was so hard. I worked so hard. And she's like, did you work so hard? What did you do? And he's like, oh, work.
You know.
So hard, babe.
You wouldn't understand,
She's
honey.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Never worked a day in
Women
her
don't
life.
understand. No. And she's like, oh, so like you made some progress? And he's like, well, I mean, we'll see. But like, it feels like every time I go there, it's like the trees have just like growing back up. It's just never ending. It's, you
Makes up
know,
some good
how that
stories.
happens in nature.
Yeah, how trees, you cut them down and the next day they grow back.
Yeah, exactly. And how that happens to everyone.
Yeah, it's classic.
Women wouldn't understand.
How could we? We don't work.
Yeah.
Haven't had the pleasure.
So one day he's napping on a stack of tortillas and he sees a group of vultures flying around. And he says, this buzzard leads a good life because he doesn't have to do any work. He just flies around all day. He flies over the trees and houses. I wish I could live like that buzzard for a while. It's a direct quote. Which also makes me think that maybe this feels like this is the first animal that he has actually noticed or paid attention to. Like maybe he's like actually awake during the day for the first time, because there are so many way lazier animals than vultures.
It's true.
Yeah.
Why
You
is
wanna-
this the
don't-
example for him?
I want to be a cat.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
sleep 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
Or a bear.
I-
You get a whole
Bug.
part of the year.
Worm.
Worm.
Yeah.
God.
Well,
Worm.
yeah, buzzards, they have
Would
their
you
own
love
things
him if
going
he
on.
was a worm?
This guy? No.
No.
My beautiful girlfriends? Maybe. So you keep saying that he's napping on a stack of tortillas, and I'm imagining him as Thumbelina. Is it just that like he has a pillow of tortillas? Or does
Yes,
she
yeah,
make
pillow.
okay, good. Because she's making giant tortillas, or he is as small as
She's an amazing
Thumbelina.
wife.
Yeah, she's really great.
She has a big oven.
Ooh. Yeah, Liz actually explains that it's fucked up also that he is like, she's making him tortillas for food and he's demanding extra and being like, hey, I need more because I'm working so hard. And he's just using them as a pillow because
That's
those are things that are like really time intensive to put together and everything.
Bring
So
a pillow.
he's-
Like, what the hell?
Just have a pillow.
God.
In the original story, the man just calls out to the vulture and he's like, hey, vulture, what's up? You want to hang out?
Scabro.
Liz's version has him musing to himself about wanting to be a vulture, and then God, who is tired of this man's bullshit, which is really, really fair, is like, you know what? Wouldn't it be funny if we did actually give him what he wishes for? But in either case, this man and this vulture have a meeting of the minds, and they determine that both of their lives would be better if they could switch places for just 3 or more days.
Wait, what's the vulture got to complain about?
The vulture is fine. I think the vulture's just doing this guy a solid.
All right.
That's true. I guess, gosh, I just yelled at Giambattista Basile for not telling us why the fairies are sad, and I didn't even bother to tell you why the vulture might be up for being a dude.
I mean, this guy's making it look pretty good. He's just taking a nap on a stack of tortillas.
True.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. You have to tell me the source you used too, because the god part was in the version that I adapted from.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and so actually, what I'm wondering if what happened is your source is maybe tells a version from before colonization. I'm curious because I have to assume that if this is an indigenous story, that at some point there might have been one version, and then at another point there's a version where now Catholicism has kind of influenced some of it, as happens in like a lot of Latin American folktales. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
This is so cool. I love that we're getting to talk to you about this because I would have just assumed that was you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, actually, that's really important as distinction too, because otherwise it does. If we were just to do this without you here, it would just seem like you were like, also God was there.
Yeah, which like in the version I read, that I mean, he wasn't like there, but like that it's God who intervenes. But certainly, I think that it would be very based on the other indigenous tales I've read. There's like a lot of like interaction between the human world and the animal world, and that they should have just had a conversation, been like, let's just switch places.
That's what it has in the version. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's like, do you want to switch places? And the vulture's like, yeah, all right, I'm down. I got nothing going on. So he calls the buzzard down, and in my version of the story, he says, I would like to turn into a buzzard because I like the kind of life you lead. You only fly through the air and don't have to work in the field. I'm tired of working, and I don't want to work in the field anymore. And the buzzard is like, that sounds really fair. What's field? What's
what's work?
Work? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, see, this is what I want. The buzzard is like, well, you could become a buzzard and I could become a man. But the trick is, in the version that I have, the buzzard says, the trick is that if you become a buzzard, you have to eat what a buzzard eats.
Yeah.
So no more nice tortillas or anything like that. Only dead horses, cows, dogs, chickens, and pigs, and other dead things. The list continues of dead things that you're allowed to eat. And the man is like, oh, well, I can do that. I've got an iron stomach. I can eat basically anything and be totally fine. So that sounds fine to me. I don't have to worry about that at all. In this story, he jumps 3 times into the air and turns into a buzzard, and then the buzzard hops 3 times and turns into a man. Which is pretty cute.
That is cute.
And so the man goes off in his new buzzard form. The man buzzard, if you will. It's going to get confusing.
Because
Yes, this would have been a story. I probably
page.
should have given these people names.
No, it's perfect.
Bill
It's perfect. It's
and
just like
Will.
Spider-Man and Man-Spider.
Yeah.
The buzzard the man who has become a buzzard flies around, he sees the world, and he flies over his own house. He sees his family. And after a very brief period of being a buzzard, he's already kind of like tired of being a buzzard.
Classic.
So he just flies back to his house and is like, well, I think I'm done with this phase of my life. And he lands outside of his house. He hops up and down 3 times to turn back into a man, and it doesn't work. And he realizes that he is stuck as a buzzard.
Oh, wow. This is like Animorphs.
Yes.
You've read that.
Oh, God.
Hell yeah.
Whew. Meanwhile, the buzzard, who is now a man, is like, what does man do? Man goes to house? And so he goes to house. He walks in and his wife is immediately like, whew, you smell horrible. The story has her saying, why do you smell so bad? What have you been doing? I can't stand it. Get away from me. You aren't like you were before. Which feels like a lot.
She
Yeah, I've
clocks
been
him
working
and
in
just
the
take a shower.
field. It's never been an issue.
I just
for him
love
before.
the progression. Why do you smell so bad? You aren't like you were before.
Which was, you smelled good.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe
You
that
smelled
was
like
This is the
tortillas.
one thing you had going for
maybe
you.
that was her attraction to him. Yeah, was that he smelled great. And now she's like, gross. Get away from me. I want a
Oh, yeah.
divorce.
I mean, fair. Hygiene can be a real turnoff, or lack of.
That's true.
Yes. And I should say, this is the version that I'm telling is the version from the mythology of Mexico and Central America, just because Liz's version does turn a little bit in a different direction. So I'm telling the version that I have first, and then I will tell Liz's
This is
version
great. It's new.
of this,
It's
like,
new for me.
So she says, "You aren't like you were before. I want a divorce." And he says, "But I've always smelled this way," which is true because he's a buzzard and he's always smelled this way.
Leave him alone.
Meanwhile, the man and his wife, quote, are fighting, and a buzzard flies into the house and just starts like hissing and croaking and like hopping around and knocking things off of the counter and jumping up and down in front of the woman. And she screams, "It's me, Jessica!" This woman, horrified, grabs a big stick and beats the shit out of this vulture.
This is hilarious.
But the vulture refuses to leave. And she's like, "What could this possibly mean? What could have befallen this family that a vulture is in our house? This has never happened before. What new horrors has this day brought? My husband smells terrible, and now there's a vulture in my house."
This is the worst day of my life.
And then the buzzard, who has transformed into a husband, has a moment of conscience, and he's like, "It's actually fucked up that we did this without talking to you. I'm not really your husband. That's actually your husband right there. I'm actually a buzzard, and he's actually your husband." She's like, "No, you're my husband, and that's a buzzard." He's like, no, we switched places. I'm a buzzard, that's your husband." And she's like, "But that's a buzzard." And he's like, "Yes, but that's your husband."
It's complicated.
But if you're here, who's watching the baby?
And from that day forth, the man who had been transformed into a buzzard was a buzzard forever and had to eat what buzzards eat.
What?
Oh. Interesting. Mm-hmm. So there's like a darker element in your version, but it also ends. I mean, he lived in my version. The buzzard, the new buzzard doesn't live.
What? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the plot points I did not change. Mine was from a different John Bierhorst collection. I think it's just called like Latin American Folktales from the Pantheon collection.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons I love this folktale is because it's very different from a lot of Beauty and the Beast stories where it's like, you must turn this beastly guy into a man. In this version, a man turns into a buzzard, and it actually like helps their marriage because in the version I read, the buzzard husband is a much harder worker and a much better husband to the wife than her initial one was. And she figures it out.
And she's fine with it.
Yes.
Yeah, and she's like, "Yeah, well, this is weird, and you're a buzzard, but you've been a better husband than like, the last guy, so I'm going with it."
Yeah. So
Fair.
we can rewind a little bit, and I will tell the ending that Liz has in the book because I like it much better, honestly.
Oh, thanks.
That is shocking. Just so you know, that other ending is jarring.
Yeah, he's a buzzard forever, and he has
I guess
to eat what
it's like a
buzzards
careful
eat.
what
The
you
end.
wish for type of story, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Grass is always
it's
greener.
also
Yeah.
It specifically says that he's like, "Oh yeah, I can eat what buzzards eat. That's totally fine." But then the moment that he turns into a buzzard, he's like, "Ew, what buzzards eat? I hate that. I would never eat that." It's like he's just not going to be happy no matter where he is because there's always going to be something that's mildly inconvenient to him.
Yeah.
So he's always going to be inconvenienced.
Yeah.
So rewinding, the man and the buzzard transform into each other, and they decide to test out the transformation for 3 days. They switch places. After the 3-day period, they meet back up and they're like, "Okay, so how did it go?" The man who has been transformed into a buzzard is like, "Being a buzzard is fantastic. I love eating dead things. It's my favorite. I love it a lot. I love the meats. I love the carrion. I love the entrails. I love the corpses. It's my favorite."
I mean, that's what buzzard's like. So
Yeah.
I mean, he's a buzzard now.
Yeah. And the buzzard who has become a man is like, "I actually really like being a man. You know, you told me that the thing that man does is clearing this field, and so I asked someone how to clear the field, and now the field is cleared." And he's like, "Wow, that's more work than I ever did in my entire life."
Literally.
But the buzzard who is now a man is like, "The one thing is that my wife has noticed a little bit of an odor around me, and she's not totally thrilled about it, and I've taken showers, but it's a perma-stank kind of situation, I fear." So I told her it's just from working really hard. I'm going to bring her to work with me tomorrow to show her like what it's why I smell so bad if, you're okay with staying in our current positions. And so they stay transformed. The man Buzzard goes and flies off to go find more carrion, and the other vultures who are in the area try to help him and like give him advice as to how to be a successful vulture. And they're like, hey man, let's go do this together. And he's like, fuck you, actually. I think I know what I'm doing.
I write my own story.
I love the idea of like a how to be successful in Buzzard without even trying. Like,
oh,
they're just like, please let us
title.
Let us help you.
He's very selfish, and he's not very good at being a vulture. The vultures try and help him like find proper carrion and everything, and he smells something that smells like a ton of carrion, and he's like, I'm gonna go check that out. And they're like, no, that's like suspicious, and you shouldn't go and do that. That doesn't make any sense. You're smelling like something that smells like a bunch of animals that are being burned. That's not a safe place for you to be. And he's like, I think I'll be the judge of that. So he goes and flies off and pursues this big smoky carrion smell. What he finds is a huge brush fire that has been set by the Buzzard who was transformed into a man, who is clearing the plot of land while his wife watches to show her, like, this is why I smell so bad, is because, I'm sweating, I'm out here with all of this smoke and everything like that. They're clearing out all of the underbrush in order to make for, like, better farming in this area. And so the man who has been transformed into a buzzard immediately flies into a burning bush and gets absolutely fucked up.
Truly.
He gets himself out, but the wife is like, wow, that buzzard's an idiot. Buzzards are stupid and I hate them, actually. And she looks very suspiciously at this man who she believes to be her husband. And he's like, well, let's not be rude about vultures. They're actually really helpful animals and very good for the environment.
And that one's actually kind of hot.
Yeah. Don't you think?
I don't know if you noticed the wingspan, but it's pretty good.
He's got a really clean and microbiota clear head with no feathers on it, and I just really feel like that takes a lot of work. So
yeah. He's got really
maybe we should give him a break.
He's got really strong talons, and mostly it's because the beak is a little. Anyway, it's neither here nor there.
And she's like, okay, so it sounds like you just really, really love buzzards. And he's like, I mean, I don't, like, not particularly. That would be a weird thing for me to be, like, really into. And she's like, so I'm starting to think that you might be a buzzard, is what I think. And he's like, what, me, your husband of several years?
Honey, you've been squawking in your sleep.
And she's like, yeah, I think that you're actually a vulture. And he's like, ah, shoot, you got me. I'm a vulture that replaced your husband. You guessed it. And she turns to him and she's like, well, I suspected. I now have proof. And to be honest, I'm thrilled. You're doing a great job with work. You're a very nice person to have around. You're very clean. You always clean your face to make sure that there is no bacteria after you eat. I've noticed that you've been eating a lot of the lice and fleas that we had around, and that's really nice of you. Now we don't have any more lice or fleas. So frankly, I'd be happy to keep you as my husband. And the buzzard accepts, and they live happily ever after.
I'm so happy for them.
Wait, that's how that ends? Did the other one just got barbecued and that's it?
He got gently barbecued. He survived.
Oh, God.
No, he dies.
Oh, he dies?
I hate to break it
okay.
Yeah, he dies. He plummets to his death.
What if Max is devastated by that? What if
sorry.
you just broke her heart? No.
But he's the only one.
I'm going back.
There's a lot of animal death in folklore.
Yeah, your version is
okay,
better.
so he does die off screen in your story.
Yeah.
He plummets to the ground.
It's implied.
Which I interpreted as he got singed and then walked away safely.
You know what? If that's the way it ends for you, I'm thrilled. I'm glad.
It's pretty good. Can I ask you, in the other version, Max, did they have the whole let's change for 3 days rule?
No, they did not.
Okay.
They just switched places and then we're like, and we'll never see each other
No
again.
definite
Goodbye.
time.
No.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there was an unspoken time since that guy, he was a vulture too long and then could not devulture.
Yeah. I mean,
He broke the cardinal sin of Animorphs.
cardinal sin. That's fun. I love that she got a happy ending. I mean, vulture husband sounds hot, right?
Yeah, I think so. I shouldn't add personality to an animal, but like in my mind, animals, they obviously, there's a natural order, like vultures are part of an ecological system.
Mm-hmm.
So like to him, it would be natural to be like, oh, I have to do my part. So like he's just naturally a good worker. And that works out for her because the other guy weren't doing his part.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
and that made him be a bad vulture, too. It didn't...
yeah. There's also a similarity to, like, cleaning. I mean, he would be very clean, right? Vultures are pretty clean, and they also help get rid of, like, decaying things on the side of the road and stuff like that. And so, like, the idea of him being like, oh, there's something that needs to be cleaned up. All right. And also, it's bring your wife to work day. All right. Let's go.
Yeah. I am intrigued that, like, why does the formerly vulture man like maintain a vulture-y smell? Is it like the truth of a being is in how they smell? Does that reveal something about them?
Maybe
I don't know.
that is. Okay, so I have a question then for you. You have a fiance. If you had to switch him out with a bird, with a bird man, what kind of bird would you hope it would be?
Good Lord.
Would it be a vulture?
I do love vultures.
Yeah, me too.
I think they're so cute, and I love the role they play. I love any animal that like people are like, ew, they're gross or they're a pest, and I'm like, actually, they're really useful.
Like possums.
I think they're great. Yeah,
bats.
exactly.
Possums, bats,
oh,
vultures.
Possum would be good. I would love a possum fiance.
A possum fiance.
That's good.
Every time you're like, hey, I'm sorry, did you not wash this dish or whatever? He just like falls over and pretends to be dead.
To be fair, I think I'd actually like to be in like a lesbian relationship with a possum.
Yeah.
I want like the possum mom with all the babies hanging off.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Like, come on, everybody, hop on. Yeah. All right. So, no bird. Instead, a rodent or a marsupial.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was supposed to pick a bird.
No, a marsupial could work.
Okay, cool. Well, then I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Possum. Love it. Max, do you have an answer?
For a bird,
Yeah. What bird would you like to marry?
I would want a magpie husband.
Yeah.
To bring me little treats
A provider.
and make sounds almost like a person talking.
Recorded who brings you presents. I love that.
Yeah, pretty good.
I think they have beautiful plumage. I think they're very smart.
Yeah.
They're good birds.
Pretty good.
The one thing that I feel we absolutely lost in my retelling of Liz's story is that Liz included a bunch of really helpful and cool and fun vulture facts, which I could not find a way to include without just quoting, like just reading directly from the book. And I'm not gonna spoil the ones that Liz has included because it's very worth reading these vulture facts. But I did get some more vulture facts for you guys.
Yay. All of my vulture
that we
facts
can all-
I learned from Rosemary Moscow. I don't know if you're familiar with her work. An incredible ornithological comic book creator.
Cool.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I just did a Google search for vulture facts, and I learned a bunch of vulture facts, and
I
I'm
wanna learn
really
more.
happy about it. Okay. Did you know vultures can smell dead animals from a distance of up to 2 kilometers?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty crazy.
But can they
That's
smell
impressive.
everything, or is it specific to dead animals?
Janie, I didn't do that much research.
Max!
You gotta give me a break
What
here.
can they smell? What else can they smell 2 kilometers away?
Yeah, are they just like constantly overpowered with scent?
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be like
Difficult
dead.
life. I mean, they're just biologically engineered to like hone in
Yeah,
on
probably that
roadkill.
one. Okay.
Probably. I didn't include this in my notes, but there are 2 different kinds of vultures. There's New World vultures and Old World vultures. And New World vultures are in North and South America. Old World vultures are in Europe, Asia, and Africa. New World vultures are the ones that have an incredible sense of smell, which they're one of the only birds to utilize a sense of smell
Whoa.
in their feeding. Old world vultures do not have that same incredible sense of smell, but they do have an incredible ability for sight. So a lot of times the way that old world vultures will scavenge is that they will look for places where they will watch the patterns of other animals' movements. So they'll basically let other animals do their scavenging for them while they fly above. And then they just come down when they find all the animals converging on a corpse.
Huh, interesting.
Which I think is pretty smart of them.
Who called them New World and Old World vultures?
Yeah, that's what I was going to comment on. Like, colonialism's everywhere, including in animal science.
Yeah, right?
Even in vultures.
These are the third world
The New World
vultures
vultures are like, bitch, this world is old too.
The whole thing is old.
We've been here, man. When you see vultures flying in circles, it's not because they're circling prey or carrion. In fact, it is because vultures are very, very smart and a little bit lazy, as they have a right to be.
Interesting.
They catch warm air thermals that are going up, and they use that to rise rather than having to flap their wings to reach a certain altitude. So they catch thermals and use those circles to get up to the height that they need to get to, and then they can kind of coast from there to wherever they're going, rather than like flapping all the way to get up to altitude and then like descending and everything. So they work more like helicopters than like airplanes.
That's not laziness. That's just efficiency.
Yeah, that's a work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's especially noted that the reason why they do that is because a lot of times as scavengers, they have to fly huge distances in order to find their food. So they're trying to conserve as much energy as possible. So
I love
them.
Yeah, same. I love them.
In the morning, especially, vultures like to sun themselves.
Aww.
They will lie down in a pose where they have their like wings stretched all the way out, and sunning themselves in the morning helps them to get warmed up for the day, but it also helps to control ectoparasites like feather lice. So it keeps them clean and bacteria free. So
all of my
clean
students who
kings.
keep coming to school with lice, if I just set them outside for a little while, do you
That
think
should
that
take
would?
care of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sun them.
All right. Get out. Get out. We're tanning.
The Latin name for turkey vultures is Cathartes aura, which literally translates to the golden purifier or purifying breeze, which I think is lovely.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Vultures can live to be 25 years old, and they have no voice box, so they can't actually like make a vocal noise. But they do hiss, growl, and snarl using vibrations in their throat.
That's young for a bird, it seems like. Though I guess they're like a bigger, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Is it just parrots that live long?
They get just old enough to age out of Leonardo DiCaprio's dating pool.
Honestly, smart.
Yeah, they're like, I'm dead now. Nothing else to live for.
I'm not dealing with that.
No, Leo, I'm out of here. Vultures also have incredibly acidic stomach acids, which helps them to, as they're eating carrion, it kills any kind of diseases that's on the meat. So they are incredibly beneficial in any kind of biome because they help to mitigate the spread of disease by destroying it in their own digestive system, which is designed for that.
Amazing.
They also use that very potent stomach acid as an attack measure, where if you scare a vulture, it will vomit its very acidic stomach acid at you and then fly away.
Yeah.
Smart.
Good.
Smart.
Which is pretty cool. Lastly, a group of vultures is generally called a committee, except that when they are in flight, like in those big like wheeling circles of vultures, they're called a kettle. Or when they are all feeding on carrion together, they are called a wake. A wake of vultures.
Wow.
That's so good.
And that's some vulture facts for you.
Yay.
I love those.
Vulture husband. I would like to have a vulture husband. You know he's going to pick up after himself.
That's true. Can I pitch
definitely.
another alternate title?
Yeah.
Okay, vulture husband, I hardly know her husband.
Vulture, I hardly know her.
Thank you.
I like it.
Thank you so much.
Spectacular. Comedy mastermind.
Thank you. We're
Can you
ending
imagine
the
if I did that
podcast now.
for all of the animal stories? It was all like, vulture, I hardly know her.
Yeah, for all of them.
I guess that's the only one that works for it. Lindworm,
Hold on. I hardly
I would
know.
love you if you were a lindworm. I don't know. Lindworm, I hardly know worm.
Yeah, that one. All of them should be like that. Flayed woman.
Yeah,
I
perfect.
hardly know that woman.
I hardly flayed her.
There's only one that works. Max, fantastic job.
Thank you.
I loved it.
Oh, and Liz, fantastic job.
And we all learned about.
Oh, thank you.
We all learned a lot of facts about vultures.
I love that I'm still learning about this fairy tale or this folktale.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just goes to show. You can always be learning.
ABL.
ABL.
All right. Well, do we want to take another brief break and then come back for Liz's story?
Let's
Break
do
sounds
it.
good to me.
All right. We'll be right back. Don't be scared. Bye.
Okay, Max and Janey,
Okay, Liz.
Liz, okay.
would you like to hear one more story?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Please tell
Okay,
us a
so-
story.
So I picked a story that's not in my book to lure people over to your wonderful podcast.
Yes.
You know, I'm calling it an exclusive.
Oh my God.
Technically, I've done this on my Patreon, but like that's like 50 people, you know, so it's still pretty exclusive.
That's the most exclusive.
Yeah. So, Janey, you did a story from my section all about violence.
Yes.
Because my book is divided into sections of adult themes that we explore in fairy tales.
Mm-hmm.
And Max read a story from the marriage part, which is all animal stories. And so I'm going to tell a story that would fit well in my part 2, which is swipe right to your happy ending, which is all like dating and bad dates and how it can work out.
Yeah.
And this story is from England. I don't know if it's from a book by this guy, Wilbur Herschel Williams. And the title of his book is like Fairy Tales from the Folklore. So I'm assuming it's got some kind of folktale base, but it also really reads like an original fairy tale, you know, like a Madame Delnois or an Oscar Wilde or something. So good question there. And I think it would be a great rom-com from the 90s because it's very much like a, you know, enemies to lovers tale.
Yes.
And it very much teaches all the wrong lessons to young women.
Classic
And
90s.
this- exactly.
Yeah.
This is called Sweet Pea and Sweet William.
Ooh.
It just doesn't roll off the tongue the same way.
Yes, true. So this takes place way back in merry old England when the world was like really super stocked with fairies and sprites. And they had like so much power there. There were so many of them that the fae life regularly interfered with human life.
Mhm.
Though I would argue it's the opposite. It's like, you know how people say like, oh, raccoons are such pests. Well, who was here first?
Yeah. You move
I think we are the pests.
on their home and you put a garbage can where their dinner table is. So,
Exactly.
like,
And I as we meet the people in this fairy tale, I think you will see that the true interferences are the humans. So first we meet the Duchess of Cornwall, and she was having a big like girls' night on her boat with all of her rich girlfriends. And this girls' night basically is them drinking and knitting, which is surprisingly modern,
yeah,
actually.
that's
I think like,
girlhood.
Sounds great.
craft night.
Yeah.
The old stitch and bitch.
While they're knitting, while they're drinking, they're laughing a lot. For some reason, the Duchess keeps like sticking one of her knitting needles in the water, and she keeps joking, "I'm just seeing how deep the water is," and everyone laughs as if that's a good joke. I don't understand. I think they're that drunk.
I
I'm
mean,
assuming.
to be fair, you said it and I laughed.
Okay, you're right. You're right. I shouldn't judge.
You know what? Everybody has a different humor, and apparently that's mine.
Yeah. Well, she does it once and they laugh. And
Yeah.
then, like all stupid comedians, she keeps doing it over and over again to get more laughs.
Yeah.
Until there's this huge splash. And this enormous, terrifying looking merman like crests out of the water and like comes up on the side of the boat. And in my mind, he's very hot.
Yeah, of course.
But that's
Gotta
just
be.
my
Yeah.
that's my mind.
Has to be. Otherwise, we won't listen a second further.
Yeah, why pay attention? And he's like, "You fucking bitch. Every time you stick that needle in the water, you gouge out the eyes of my wife and my gajillions of children." So she's just been blinding all these mer people, which is
Oh
horrifying.
my god.
And it's pretty bizarre. Like, are these mer people just all under the water, like looking up?
Yeah, like they're putting their
They're all
eyes
like-
against the surface.
Yeah, they're
a
like, what's up with those knitting ladies? And then it's like, yeah.
Honestly, this feels like a conversation that he needs to have with his wife and all of the other mer people
Yeah.
to be like, stop putting your eyeballs near the surface
Yeah.
right next to this boat with this crazy lady with a needle.
Also,
It's a lot of
guys,
questionable decisions.
if one of you gets your eyes gouged out, maybe nobody else go in that spot. Stop investigating.
I'm going to tell you about another really old piece of media, which was a very old SNL skit back in the 80s with Tom Hanks, where it's this family, and one of them, like, takes a sip of the milk, and they're like, oh, I think this milk has gone bad. And then another one's like, wait, let me see. And they, like, go down the whole line, and, like, everyone takes a sip of the milk.
Seen that one.
That's what's happening with this mer family. They're like, oh, no, that lady gouged her eyes out. Which lady?
Let me see.
Exactly. Yeah, so this merman is really mad.
Yeah,
and
I
he's
would
like, because of this, yeah, fair. He's like, you ruined my children's life, so I'm going to ruin your child's life. And so he curses her child. And he says, from henceforth, whatever he intends to do, he shall do the opposite. So if he wants to laugh at something, he's going to cry. And if he wants to show love, he's going to be cruel. And if he wants to eat, in the old fairy tale, it says if he wants to eat, he will sleep. Which I don't understand how that's the opposite.
No, that's not the opposite. No, if he wants to eat, he'll throw up like a vulture.
Yeah, exactly. Or shit or something. Yeah.
Huh. Okay, but
Projectile vomit all over the food.
sleeping really is. I guess you'll never in your life want to throw up, though. You know, if you want to throw up,
No.
instead you'll eat. I mean, unless
But
you have a 90s
can you imagine
style
if
eating
you
disorder.
did want to throw up and you could only eat?
No, awful. Oh, God.
Bad.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather sleep.
He's like, peace out. Enjoy your curse. And then when he like goes under the water, the women hear a mournful song as if, and I quote, a colony of mussels and oysters were crying and lamenting.
Aww.
I know.
Because they have no eyes.
I don't know. Or like they're sad for the mer family.
What?
I'm picturing like Alice in Wonderland with the little oysters.
Yeah, because
in
also
the walrus and the
they hear a song as if it's oysters singing, but oysters don't tend to make a lot of noise unless it's like a clap, 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 and they're like sad.
yeah. Who decided what oysters sound like?
That's some sad Morse code happening.
The oysters are just doing a step routine under the water.
Yeah, so the Duchess of Cornwall goes home, and her son at this point, he is 2 years old, and he's like such a darling child that everyone in the family calls him Sweet William, except that name is about to become hella ironic.
Oh no.
Because she goes home.
Sour
she's
William.
like, I'm home, William. She stretches out her arms, and the boy in his heart, he's like, it's mommy. I'm going to give her a hug. But his body runs in the other direction. And he's like, "Blah! I hate you.
Yeah, this is Sour Bill.
Exactly. Yeah, and she keeps trying. She like picks him up to give him a kiss, and he wants to kiss her back, but he slaps her in the face.
Oh, God.
And she's like, say you're sorry. And he's like, fuck you. And
This is just what is this? What is that age for kids?
the terrible twos.
Yes, yeah. This is just this child going into the terrible twos.
Exactly. Actually, I love that aspect of the fairy tale.
Yeah, and then next is the three-nager.
Yeah, three-nager.
Aw.
4 also bad.
Yeah, but also
I don't
bad
know.
fours.
It's hard to be a parent. This is a fairy tale about how tough it is to raise children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so unfortunately, poor Sweet William now becomes the most loathed child in the neighborhood,
Aw.
which it isn't even his fault, unfortunately.
No.
So in the meantime, the King of England is going through something very similar because he too is a person that's very ignorant of all of the magical people that live around him. He was off hunting in the woods, and I have to presume you two have talked about how much hunting happens in fairy tales
And we've
by the men
certainly told
characters.
enough stories of men just going out and killing it. Sometimes it's just for fun, too. Like when they're just like, I'm going
like-
out to
it's
shoot
all they do.
birds. It's like, that's it.
If there's like a fairy tale bingo card, you have to have like King goes hunting a
Yeah.
square.
Yeah.
It comes up all the time.
I think that was their TV back then, though. Like, there really was The Bachelor back in the day. Like, we
Yeah, I
have
guess you're
nothing
right. I mean,
else.
There's limited things to do.
Yeah, they're like, you want to play the Xbox? And by the Xbox, I mean shoot birds.
kill a deer.
Kill a deer, hunt a
Yay.
bear. I don't know. Be in the woods.
It really seems like they're not doing much like king business sometimes.
Yeah,
it feels
they're
like
not working
kind of
at all.
all they're doing is going out hunting, and it's like,
Maybe they should switch
That's
places with a Buzzard about it.
I think it's a good example again of like how like women's work was so varied because what do women do? They're spinning, they're telling stories, they're
washing,
raising children.
They're poking out
like,
a bunch
I guess
of
I'll go
mermaid
hunting
eyes.
again.
Yeah.
they're maiming mer people.
Women.
So he's hunting and he's sat down for a lunch break and he's enjoying his cold chicken and he's alone and he doesn't have much thought for nature. So he's just kind of like tossing his bones. And to be fair, I guess bones are biodegradable. Why not toss your bones?
Yeah.
But suddenly this tiny little pixie woman, like a little lady, marches up to him and she's like, "You son of a bitch, you rude, thoughtless man. You are tossing out your bones with no care for nature. You tossed your bones right on my children.
No.
And those bones are nothing to you, but you have crippled and maimed my offspring. And the worst thing is, you're sitting on my house."
No, that is worse.
Yeah. He stands up, he's like, "Oh God, I'm so sorry. Please, beg my pardon," or whatever. And she's like, "Nope. Because you have ruined my children's life, I shall curse your child."
Oh, no.
And her curse is different. She says, "You will not get to watch your daughter grow up, and she's going to be raised by a poor person."
No.
And he's like,
Please make her an asshole. Anything else?
So, in other words, he got off easy, I think. And the poor Duchess is like getting physically assaulted by her toddler every day. And it's true. This happens because as soon as the king gets home, the baby girl princess is gone. She's been kidnapped. No one knows where she went. No one knows why. He tells his wife, "I can tell you what happened. I accidentally killed a bunch of pixies," or whatever.
She's like, "Again?"
And she's,
God.
yeah. And the queen is actually like, "This seems fine. I'm sad, but at least she's safe."
Yeah.
Reasonable.
You know what? You know what should happen? Can I just like stop you here and end the story with, and then they like redistributed the wealth in the kingdom so that there were no poor people.
Smart. That would have solved their problem.
Then they learned a lesson.
For sure.
They made
We
sure
all could just be
all the children in the land were properly cared for.
for real.
Yeah.
For real.
Anyway, I'm guessing they don't do that.
No, not at all. He sulks. He's like, "Damn it, my child is being raised by a poor."
Oh God.
And they go on with their life. And so the pixies had taken the princess away and they flew her through Britain, and way out in the country they deposited her in a bowl of peas that a poor couple, a shepherd and his wife, were like shelling. And they're like, "Hot damn, we got a new baby." And they named her Sweet
Some
Pea.
kind of pea baby.
Yeah, because they found her in the peas. And they're good parents. They brought her up well. She's a lovely, generous young woman. She loves books. She loves learning. And she works hard. So she's having a nice, albeit, I guess, simple life. And William is terrorizing everyone. His mother does like try to get him an appointment in the court, hoping that like that might rub off on him a little bit. But instead, of course, he's just like annoying everyone in the palace, and the king is like doing his best to be patient with this kid, but it just seems like he's utterly insane. Aww. And it just gets worse, of course, as he gets older and he wants to have a girlfriend because there's only so much negging you can be successful with.
Also, I'm sorry, but if every time you try to kiss somebody instead you slap them in the face, you're gonna get a reputation.
For sure. And who knows that he even gets that far, because I'm assuming that like he's like, "All right, I'm gonna tell this girl I like her," and then he's like, "You fucking suck,
you bitch."
And she's like, oh okay.
Yeah, there's gonna be one girl that's into it.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm sure he's like rich and he's handsome, and certainly women of this period probably put up with a lot. But it's to the outside world, he just seems like a lout, and only his mother knows that that's not true.
Yeah,
presumably.
Well, also the other women that were
on the boat. That's a plot hole.
Cursed by a mermaid.
Yeah, maybe they were too drunk. I don't know.
Yeah, they were like, "I just hallucinated the weirdest thing, and now this kid's an asshole."
Well, luckily, there is a new fairy about to enter the story, and she actually feels bad for this family, this Duchess and William. Her name's Morgana, and she's the fairy of the Cornish folk.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if she's been in a story that you've read before, but she visits the Duchess, and she's like, "I'm going to help out. First, you need to go and scatter some fern seed on that lake, and that will heal the eyes of the merfolk you wounded."
Oh.
Why she waited 18 years to tell her this?
I mean,
Great question.
I was wondering, she's treating this kid like it's his fault that he's an asshole all the time when she knows that it's a curse and she's not trying to break the curse.
No, apparently not. Maybe she's like, I don't want to risk pissing any more fairies off, so I'll just avoid them entirely.
Yeah, and this story is lousy with fairies. So
yeah, you literally stepping on them no matter where you go.
Yeah, you can't throw a bone without hitting a fucking fairy.
Literally. It's true.
Yeah, I would also probably be I don't know, minding my P's and Q's from now on.
I'm just gonna stay in this chair. Well, they do this. They go out. They scatter the seeds, and the merman appears back before them, and he's like, "All right, thank you for doing better by us. Everyone's great, and so I will also alleviate Sweet William's curse, but not easily." He decides once Sweet William gets married, the curse will be lifted. So their challenge now becomes, how do you marry off the meanest man in Cornwall?
So this really becomes a curse for women.
Yes. He puts it on someone else to fix this man.
Yes.
And that's why it's the perfect 90s rom-com.
It is a perfect 90s rom-com. Yeah, you're right. No. You're so right. I do like that this is kind of also the gender swap taming of the shrew.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
Hey.
Yeah, so
that's a really good comparison.
Do you guys love it now? Max is thinking of 10 things I hate about you.
Story. I am, but also it's kind of like if you Benjamin Buttoned the plot of How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Oh.
Okay.
You know?
What a funny combination of a movie that would be.
If you just start it, if you're just oh, this person's so unpleasant that they have to that you're trying to get them someone, if you just Benjamin Button the plot, flip it upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could have probably expressed that.
Sure.
It's calling it
how to
Benjamin Buttoning it.
10, I don't know.
There are terms that I could have used.
I don't know, but You're So Vain is definitely going to be in the movie version.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
And also in my stories version too. You're So Vain is part of that.
It's good for every story.
Yeah,
it's
really
a universal
fits.
song.
Perfect folklore song.
Okay, so the Duchess is like, well, that's something, I guess. So she keeps kind of trying to get him a good social standing, figuring that will help, even if she can't help his personality yet. And in the meantime, he keeps doing his stupid opposite thing, this poor man. And the pixie who cursed Sweet Pea's family is also about to have a change of heart in a very different way. So Sweet Pea goes out for lunch one day. And she has a hard-boiled egg, and she finishes her egg, and she has her little shell, and she's like, I'm gonna craft something out of this shell. And so she peels that little inner lining of the eggshell out, and she fashions it into a tiny jacket.
Oh.
Adorable.
Yeah, there's I make a lot of jokes, my patrons will tell you especially, about the manic pixie dream girls of fairy tales.
Yeah.
And this is the ultimate version of that. I think she makes a jacket out of an egg that's pixie sized. And this pixie woman is like, that's adorable. I want that fashionable egg jacket. and Sweet Pea's like, I can make you more of them if you would like. And the pixie is like, that's so nice. And because you were so kind, I'm going to tell you the truth about you, Missy.
Oh.
You're not a shepherdess. You're a princess. And you're going to get married. It's going to be a wonderful marriage. There's a handsome guy over there. You see him? He's the heir to the Duke of Cornwall. And he's your betrothed.
Mm.
And Sweet Pea's like, wow, he is really handsome. And the pixie is like, here's the catch. He's a piece of shit.
He sucks. Good luck.
Yeah, he's going to be so mean. But he's bewitched. And so when you get married, he'll be nice. Terrible lessons.
Wow.
No. You can fix him.
Girl.
All you have to do. So I used to, weird tangent. I dated this guy once where we were always fighting, and I had moved to China and he was still here. So we were still long distance. And every time it got to the point where every time we fought, he'd go, let's just get married. But that was he would, but he would throw it out in the middle of arguments, and I had to be like, can you stop proposing to me? Because it's not
proposing to me while we
And
fight.
he literally just kept going, oh, God, you know what? Let's just get married. Like, that was a solution to everything at all times, was if I was trapped in the relationship, it would be better.
He'd be happier, which,
Yeah.
I mean, based on statistics, unfortunately, that does seem to be the case.
I don't think
it's
so.
always the husbands that are happier.
Anyway, they'll just
I'm
get
getting married next year.
and it'll be fine. Oh, my God. Hey, wait a minute. It's okay.
No,
He's still got time
Dan
to
is
turn
a
into
wonderful
an
possum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's like, so that's the deal, is you guys are gonna get married, but he is gonna be allowed, but the enchantment, well, the curse will end when you get married. And so Sweet Pea's like, all right. And now they have their meet cute, because Sweet William's horse rides up, and he in his head is like, oh my God, she's so pretty and I love her. And in his mouth he says, I've never set my eyes on an uglier bitch. And Sweet Pea's like, whoa.
Jesus Christ.
But she's like, okay, this is a curse. And she's like, all right, well, right back at you, kid. And I like to imagine, I don't know, I can't remember, I adapted this a long time ago. I can't remember if this is from the fairy tale, but I like to imagine that William's eyes are saying, I don't mean what I say. Like, his eyes are terrified while his mouth is like, fuck you. And so, like, just to like give her something, give her a reason to be like, okay, I'm gonna see this through. Otherwise, she's just taking all this abuse.
Oh.
And she's like, my name's Sweet Pea. You can visit anytime. And he's like, I'm never going to visit again. And they have this funny bit where his hunting hounds just like take off after the Sweet Pea's sheep. And he tries to call them back. But of course he does the opposite. He eggs them on and they like massacre the family's sheep.
Jesus.
And Sweet Pea, that's
Body
too
count.
much for her. She like hits her limit. She's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Fair.
She's like, this is my family's livelihood, and you just like ruined it. And she's like, you better like compensate us. And he's like, I'll never compensate you. I'm so glad I killed this entire flock of sheep and ruined your life. And she's like, what? I'm going to the king, and I'm getting my due diligence.
Yeah.
So she dresses her up as nicely as she can. She goes to the palace, and the guards are like, no, we cannot let you in, peasant. And she's like, truly, you should let me in. And because, of course, she's so beautiful and so well-spoken, they do eventually give her an audience with the king. And the king is like, what a lovely young lady. And he's like, so what's happening? And she's like, this guy like, ruined our shepherd. And he's like, I have a suspicion, but tell me who this man is. And she's like, his name's Sweet William. And he's like, yeah, that fucking guy. So he's like, no worries, we'll compensate you for the losses, and you know what, you can do whatever you want with that guy, because I'm sick of him. And he's like, I will literally kill him if you demand it of me. So he's really surprised when she's like, actually, I'd like to marry him.
Oh, good for her.
He's like, what? Twist.
Whoa.
Are you sure about that? She's like, yes, that's what I want. And he's like, all right, she likes a bad boy.
Yeah, she does.
A terrible boy.
So they force William into the chapel and like shove him up on the stage. And there's a little tension because you're like, how is this going to happen? Because like even in his mind, he's like, I do. He's going to be like, no.
Yeah.
But something magical happens.
Don't.
They get him up on the altar, and it seems like even that is enough to like make his enchantment start to like chill out.
Yeah.
And so the marriage ultimately does work out. It's kind of an anticlimactic ending, I will say.
No.
That like he is like, whoa, comes out of his spell. And he's like, here's the deal, actually, you're really pretty, and thank you so much, and I love you.
I love you. He just starts pointing at people in the audience like, and I love you, and I love you, and I love you.
I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry about that thing that happened 10 years ago.
Where are my dogs?
I'm so sorry.
Bad boys.
I'm really nice. And yeah, so they have this ceremony, and the king's like, well, this is awkward. Now I have to tell this duchess that her son's married a shepherdess. And then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, the fairy Morgana of Cornwall appears. And she's like, I've got great news for you, buddy. She's higher born than even Sweet William is.
Yeah.
And the king's like, wait a minute, do you mean? And she's like, yes, this is your baby.
Yay!
Because fairies, in these stories, they just like love like having the hot goss.
That's it.
And then being like,
they like to spill the tea.
here's the story.
They love it.
I think that's why they set these things up, frankly, so that they can then swoop in and be like,
that's 100% it. In one of Max's stories recently, it's like a bear story, Max, the fairy's name was Meddler. Like that was like her name.
The fairy meddler.
that's so funny.
And it's so like, yeah, all of them should be named the fairy meddler.
That's so cute. I love that so much. Yeah, so the truth is revealed. There's a great big celebration. And there's a little detail that I think is pretty cute at the end of the fairy tale that, like, on their way home from the wedding, Sweet Pea threw pastry out of her stagecoach window to the Cornish peasants. Which I assume is like a nice gesture and she's not just like pelting it at them. I'm rich now, bitch.
I can afford to waste this food.
Yep. Yeah, so I think it's very You've Got Mail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see
I do think that not enough people learn to play his game. If you know that he's cursed to do the opposite, you need to start setting him up to do the opposite. Like, all of your sheep are done and be like, don't you dare pay me a single cent. Don't do it. You know?
Yeah, I guess, like, they can try to play it, but can he play himself?
Oh, that's true.
That's what I was wondering. Like, what is it? Could he just like transform himself into a mean person as a way of trying to be a nice person, where he's like,
yeah,
his
like
first instinct is to be like, hey, I like you. So he teaches himself to be like, I hate you. And then what he actually says is, I love you. But then when he transforms back, he's like, I hate you.
You are perfectly describing, I think, Ted Bundy.
Oh, God. I guess maybe it's just like the curse knows what the heart wants, so like you can't trick the curse.
Poor thing. That's traumatizing for him.
Yeah, I think he probably really needed therapy deeply after that. I mean, like that was a non-consent. I mean, I guess no curse is consensual. It wouldn't be a curse if it's
a non-consensual curse.
One of those non-consensual curses.
Yeah, my kink is being cursed, actually, but you're gonna have to ask me for my consent.
There. Yeah. So that's
fantastic. So that's so dumb. I liked it.
I love dumb fairy tales.
And there are so many.
Truly.
Liz, fantastic. Truly fantastic the whole way around.
Aw, thank you.
So I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
Awesome. My
first question, you kind of got into this, but so actually I might skip this one because my first question was, tell us how you started on TikTok. Like, because that is truly where you began this journey. Yes. Can you tell us a little bit about like how that started?
Yeah, it was really random. The reason I got on TikTok was why every 38-year-old woman did, and that was I was bored.
Yeah.
And at home all the time. And also I'm a librarian, and I was not doing story times anymore. I used to be at the time a singer, and I hadn't sung out with my band in a million years, and TikTok is great for musicians.
Yes.
Because you can duet with people, you can collaborate with people. So I was actually using it more like that. I was singing a lot. And one day I saw on like my little librarian calendar that it was Tell a Fairy Tale Day.
Aww.
And I was like, what a stupid holiday. But I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And my favorite fairy tale is one of those really dark, grim ones.
Yeah.
Allerleirauh, which is, I'm assuming you've done some version of the type of fairy tale where a king falls in love with his own daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And wants to marry her.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I love that fairy tale. And so I was like, I'll tell this fairy tale to the 5 people that follow me. They're all librarians. And it took off.
Yeah.
It didn't go like crazy viral, but it went viral enough that I was excited and I liked the attention.
Yeah.
And so I started telling more fairy tales, and it just like snowballed from there. Mm-hmm. And that became the thing this like series Fucked Up Fairy Tales began.
I love that video. I think that's the one that I sent to Max recently, was the part 1 and 2 of that video, because it's so funny. I think about that all the time, of people are always like, I have to do what everyone else is doing in order to go viral on TikTok. And I'm like, truly, you have to do the thing that makes you laugh, or that you specifically like to do, because then you're going to find a niche of people who are like, oh, actually, that's my thing too.
Yeah. Authenticity is important. And also it's important for you, the creator, because I do think once in a while, I expect there have been people who have gone viral for something really random. And now, like, that's the thing they have to commit to.
That's the thing.
And, like, thank God my thing was fairy tales that I love. Because if I'd made some sort of, I don't know, joke about cheese that went viral, I would have had to recommit my whole life. I don't know.
Then you're suddenly writing fucked up cheese with Liz.
Yeah, no, I'm a amateur cheesemonger now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. And it's a very similar story, I think, probably to you, I'm assuming for you, and for a lot of people during the pandemic, that it's just like we were all wanting to connect, and all of a sudden a bunch of us became creators.
Yeah.
Because people were dying. It's very weird.
And we couldn't go to our places of work, or I was in college, you know, the things where we would do that with people. Like I started carving on TikTok, and I would have been doing that in a classroom, you know?
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, and in some ways too, we got to finally like do the creative work we really love that you don't get to do when you're working 40 hours a week. So I guess that was the silver lining to the terrible tragedy.
I think so.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Janey, real quick, have we talked on the podcast before about the meat shower?
Okay, so, no, it's fine. We're fine and we're normal. Max is referring to the fact that my first TikTok video ever was because I have a pink marble shower, and I kept. It's really cute. And every time I was in there, I was seeing a face in the, you know, it's the periodola thing of like, you see a face in like patterns. And so one day I was like, this would make a good video. And I downloaded TikTok just to be like, I can make a video with this. And I did like 15-second installments of me drawing this face because I didn't know how TikTok worked. And that went super viral, like super viral. It was just like immediately. And I was like, oh, this is how TikTok works. You go viral immediately for everything.
They do. Your very first video, they usually do give a bunch.
Yeah.
And my first video had nothing to do with any of that. It was actually, I was alone in the library because when we were closed, we'd each like go in for a day to like clear the book drop and just make sure the building wasn't burning down. And I was like, I'm alone in the library. And I was like, I'm gonna run around this library and sing all of the library songs I know.
Yeah!
And that's what I did. Like I sang like Marion the Librarian, and I pretended I was Belle in another corner, and it was crazy.
That's cute.
Yeah, and that did really well. And people were like, hey. And I titled it actually, and my caption said, "My first and last TikTok."
Oh,
famous last words.
That's kind of how mine did too, though, where I was like, I'll never do it again. But after it went viral, the TikTok teens, they came and they got me, and they started saying, just commenting ham shower over and over again.
Amazing.
And now, if you're wondering if that's something I think about every time, yes, it is. At my shower, I'm like,
ham shower.
Ham.
I said that about the first Glinda dress in Wicked, and the family friend's daughter absolutely hates it when we call it the ham dress. She's like, "How dare you?"
The ham.
She's like 8.
No. Your Wicked posts have been cracking me the fuck.
Oh, thank you.
They're so good.
It's fun to, I'm a old theater kid at heart, so, and this whole thing is totally brought that out again.
It's like the beast is back.
Yep.
That's how I feel. I'm also a theater. My undergraduate major was theater.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question, how did the book come about? Like, how long have you been working on it?
Yeah.
Like, tell us about your book process.
So one of the like coolest things about becoming a micro TikTok celebrity is that I've met all these amazing people, especially because I was so conscious of like wanting to do a good job and like representing folklore and stuff. I was seeking out a lot of professionals. And so at one point I reached out to this author who I've pitched on my channel, Pete Geordie Wood, who's a folklorist and an author in Cornwall, speaking of Cornwall. And he does this great, he has this great collection for middle grade readers, but I think everyone would love it, called Tales from Beyond the Rainbow. He's queer, and he's been trying to like track down old folk tales that represent queer people that were kind of lost to time. So Pride Month was coming up, and I was like, I would love to feature one of these fairy tales, but he's like the first person to discover some of them. So I was like, I'm not just going to do it. I didn't really know the laws around folklore yet. And anyway, we became friends. And so I helped him promote his book around that time. And then eventually he was like, so when are you going to write a book? And I was like, never. And he was like, no, you should do it. This series is great, and you should make a book out of it. And I was like, I don't know. And then he said something that really changed everything. And he said, you have to do it before an old white man does it, before he takes your idea and says, I can write a book called Fucked Up Fairytales. And I was like,
Oh
my
my God.
you're so right. And that was very motivational.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking cross stitch that on a pillow. Do it before an old
Do
white
it
man
before
takes
an
your
old
idea.
white man does. Yeah. So then he like was kind of my like cheerleader for that, and he really helped me. Like he was like, "This is what it's like to try to get a book deal." And so first you need to find an agent, and first we need to make a proposal for the idea. And so he like coached me through that, and
Amazing.
Yeah, it was magical. So I really owe a lot to him, and I hope to get to visit him in Cornwall one day so I can thank him in person. And also because my favorite children's book takes place in Cornwall, and I want to go and read it aloud and cry.
Yeah. Wait, what is it?
I actually like the whole series is called The Dark is Rising series by Susan Cooper, and the first book is called Oversea Under Stone, and it's like a riff on King Arthur that takes place in a made up village in Cornwall.
Oh, great. Well, if you can on Instagram or something like that, send us his profile and stuff like that. We'll put him in our source notes.
Yeah, I definitely
So we
will.
can also have our listeners find his stuff because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, his books are great. He has both. He has the short story collection, and he also has a picture book. I think the picture book's only been released in the UK so far, but hopefully it'll get an American publication. And that's called The Dog.
I mean,
and the
if
Sailor.
enough people reach out and say, "I want to buy this," maybe that'll.
Yeah, and you
force
can
them to.
you can buy from like Amazon UK and get shipped here. It's a little more money, but it's actually not that much. That's what I did before he got a UK publication for Tales from Beyond the Rainbow, before he got the American one.
Oh, amazing. I love that. Like storytellers helping each other out.
Yeah, folklorists is a very small community. So once you're in, you're all friends, which is really cool.
Okay, with that in mind, I have another question then. We have a list of like our folklore heroes. Like they're the ethical folklorists, the ones, because we make a big deal about sourcing the work. Not everybody's going to do it. And we have certain ones that we trust. I don't know if you know who Chenga Varagzalka is. We love Chenga.
She's amazing.
We love Angela Carter. We're a big fan of. We're a big fan
Legend.
of. What is it? Jack Zipes, Max.
Yep.
Yes.
Jake Johnson. All of the things. So do you have like a favorite folklorist that you...
I guess, I love all of them, and Maybe I'll just shout out someone that you haven't shouted out yet.
Yeah.
Who's Dr. Gina Jorgensen, and she's amazing. She wrote this set of books. She's a folklore educator. I can't remember at what college, but she's also like a belly dancer, and she's like kind of goth. And she wrote this series called, one is like Folklore 101, Fairy Tales 101, and then Sex Ed 101, because she's also a sex educator and
hell yes,
kind of an expert in like the folklore on sex. And the books are just so great. It's like your cool professor took you out for a beer and was like, this is the history of fairy tales in a way that you can understand. So cool. I love that. And then she just came out with a book called The Thorn Key, which is like poems that are inspired by fairy tales, and they're very feminist and queer and beautiful. So she's someone everyone should look up if you want to learn more about fairy tales and if you like sexy fairy tales. For sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I like it.
Cool.
And she's doing the work, just like Chenga. I think sometimes we think of folklorists like Andrew Lang or the Grimm brothers, and they're like these old men from a long time ago. But like, if I don't know what stories of Chenga's you've shared, but like Chenga's a person that like found a box of old fairy tales that this lady told.
Yeah, the Carpathian Mountains. Yes. Yeah, I've told a couple from Tales from the Carpathian Mountains.
Incredible collection.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
and again, so ethically sourced in a way that you're like, I trust everything that you tell me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I know I can because you back it up with receipts. Yeah. Big fan of that.
A couple more names to mention. Patrick Chamoiseau is really incredible for his like niche. And then there's also, I cannot remember her name, but the woman who started the New York City folklore foundation. And I
Diane Wolkstein.
Cool.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
Are
also incredible.
Maria Tatar is another one, and you probably got some.
Yes.
Of her books.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
What is she? The hero? No, Maria Tatar. She wrote the not the hero with 1001 Faces.
Yeah, the heroine with 1001 Faces. Yeah.
It.
She's a fellow at Harvard in the folklore department. And amazingly, she also published with Norton. So when I got my book deal there, my editor was like, oh, one of my first jobs here at Norton was working on her book, the annotated whatever. So he reached out to her secretly and was like, do you know who this girl is? And she was like, I don't know her work, but I just watched her video on the 12 Dancing Princesses and I loved it. And so then he told me that, and I was like, I'm crying.
Doesn't that just like, that's
I've been terrified that like Jack Zipes or someone would be like, this fucking bitch in her TikTok. I don't know what, I'm sure he's really
classic
nice.
Jack. Classic Jack Zipes. He's like this fucking bitch. He's like a keyboard warrior.
Yes, and then she blurbed my book, which is amazing.
That is So incredible.
I have the email. I had talked to my editor. I was like, I know this probably isn't ethical, but can you send me the email that she sent where she said she liked my video? And I'm not going to like do anything with it other than print it out and put it on my wall. And that's literally what I did.
I love that you did that. Oh, just frame that shit. I mean, we would die.
Yeah.
We would die. If Changa even mentioned sort of the story, she could say, I listened to it, hated it. We'd be like,
no, I don't think she would. She seems really nice. I told one of those from that collection as well on my Patreon. So we had talked a little bit about it. People
so
like
good.
these stories to go on, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's it. You know, as long as you're telling us, you know, where you got it. Oh, God, who's the Cajun one, Max? There's a Cajun author. I told the Grunch story from that. Anyway, I'm not going to remember it. And J.J. Renaud. J.J. Renaud is
yes.
another one where even when it's like oral folktailing, she'll be like, I heard it from my neighbor. This is her name. And this is where she got it. You know, like there's a way to do that. Give people credit. And I love that.
For sure.
Did you always have it in your mind that you wanted your sister to be your illustrator?
Not initially, and in fact, I wasn't even sure that it would be illustrated. I was like, that would be great, but I was just so gracious that anyone was letting me write a book. I was like, I'll do whatever you want. And my editor's like, so do you imagine this with illustrations? And I was like, yes. But I kind of just imagined that like it would be little illustrations, like maybe around the chapter headings or something, and that was the initial idea, you know, and I also thought that my publisher would match me with someone, or they might give me like a list of people they work with or whatever. But they were like, no, you get to pick them. Also, P.S., you have to pay them from your advance. Maybe that's why I get to pick them. So I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Well, if I'm paying them, I'm going to pay someone who I want to give my money to. And I know a perfect person. And so I was excited. Jade totally went for it. And I also just thought it would be special, obviously. Like, there's a lot of, like, sisterhood themes in fairy tales, so making something together would be fun. And then over just the course of time,
affair.
she was sending me, like, little illustrations. And then one day she sent me a full-page illustration of Donkey Skin. And I was like, whoa, this is really good, but, like, this has to be a full page. I don't know if they'll let me do it. And luckily they did. It's only a few. If I had said, like, I want color illustrations, you probably know this, Janey, that they would have been like, no, too much money.
What? Do you want to put Norton out of business?
So luckily they're like, oh, no, we can do full page. If it's black and white, that's fine. And so it shifted to that.
Oh, that's incredible. I also like, because it also makes your dedication at the beginning, which is to your parents, it also makes it a little bit easier to be like, yeah, that's kind of a dedication, I think, for both of you, you know, of like both of their kids. Is there only the two of you? Do you have any other siblings?
Yeah, it's just the two of us.
Oh, your parents must be so proud.
I think so, for sure. I know that my mom posted the dedication on Facebook, and she wrote like, hashtag that feeling when your child dedicates their book to you. But I will also tell you this, and I don't know if she's listening, Mom. She hasn't told me a goddamn thing about the rest of the book. I don't know if she likes it.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I actually have a surprise for you. She's coming on the podcast. Everybody say hello to Liz Gotauco.
It's about to get really awkward. No, I'm sure
she's sitting here. She's wearing a blazer. She has little glasses on, and she's like, I hated it.
That's so bizarre. If you knew my mom, you know how weird that is.
We thought it was weird, too. We asked her not to do that.
We told her she could just zoom in, but then she came to our house.
She's in Maine.
She's here.
That is multi-day journey.
Second surprise, she's in Savannah. All right. Just a couple. I'm going to do these a little bit faster.
Sure.
If you were in a fairy tale, what would your archetype be? Like, who would you be in that story? Like the princess or the...
I mean, it's so hard to say. Like, when I was younger, unfortunately, I probably would have been like a jealous stepsister type because I had a lot of jealousy issues growing up. Now, I do think I would be like a wise woman because I've learned so much, and I think as many women do. So, like, now in this moment, I would definitely be like the hen wife next door who's like, come on in, I'll help you out with your problem.
Yeah. Are you like the kind Baba Yaga stories?
Yeah,
not the one eating children.
I like to joke around that I'm kind of a bitch, but I'm not.
No,
I'm just straight up. I'm straight up. I'll be like Frau Holla, maybe. Although even she is like, but if you're naughty, I'm gonna curse you.
Yeah, there really is no if you're naughty. It's like, I guess I can't stop you if you're naughty.
Yeah,
don't though.
I would see the best in everyone until they showed me their worst.
Yeah,
Stregonona.
Yeah, like a.
Oh yeah, Stregonona. Iconic.
Stregonona. Yeah. That's perfect. You know the difference then between... Max and I talked about this a lot. We know the difference between the different countries' fairy tales. If you gave us a fairy tale, we could probably tell you which country it came from and be like, I mean, I would say like 85% accurate usually because they're pretty recognizable. If you could only read fairy tales from one country, which one would you choose? This is a weird question.
No, it's a great question. Oof. Okay. I'd probably pick Korea, maybe. Korea or Japan. Just because I think there's such a wide variety there, I would never get tired of it. Like, my favorite kind of fairy tale is probably those French fairy tales by, like, Madame Del Noir, because they're so crazy. But they're all kind of the same. And that would be boring. But in Japan, you've got, like, crazy ghost stories, and you've got romances, and you've got a lot of humor.
And monsters.
Yes. Yeah.
But usually there's a twist.
Sure.
Where it's, yeah.
They go hard,
that's a
but they
really
also
good
have some
answer.
cute ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. The last question I have, besides do you want to be our girlfriend, which I asked you at the top. So
Yes. Covered.
we already got that one answered. You mentioned in your intro, you talk a lot about how The Little Mermaid was kind of your initiation into the fucked up fairy tale world.
Yes.
Because, you start with the Disney movie, and then when you read the real version, you're like, oh, that's really different. That is not included in this book, though. I was looking for it, right? You didn't do your own Little Mermaid version.
No.
Is there a reason why? Or do you have like a book 2 looming?
I didn't include it at all, even in my introduction initially.
Yeah.
Because I just figured that most people know it. And now I know that's not true because I've done book tours and I've been like, and you know how The Little Mermaid ends, and then someone will be like, I don't. And I'm like, well, let me ruin your day. But I just figured it was a well-known one, so I wasn't going to include it. And when my editor pitched my book, so what happens if y'all don't know, if an editor likes your book, then they take it to like the trustees or whoever the money people are to be like, I think we should publish this book, and then they have a vote or whatever. And one of their trustees was like, how come she didn't include The Little Mermaid? That's like the fucked up fairy tale of all. And I was like, well, because you already knew it was a fucked up fairy tale. But I was like, all right, but if they like The Little Mermaid, like I can at least talk about my history with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. Max told that story in the beginning. I think it was episode 10 or 11. She told The Little Mermaid, and it really does, like, shock people. They're like, what?
Yeah. It's just so sad. I mean, it's so sad and violent.
It's a heartbreaking story.
God, nothing.
No, and it takes such a hard left into Christianity, too.
Oh, yeah, very much.
And then God came down.
All the angels.
Yeah, although it's not even a hard left, because in the beginning, she's like, I want to go to heaven.
Yes,
she's like, I don't care
also.
this prince. I want to have a soul.
I want a soul. That was also the beginning, because we've done a couple Hans Christian Andersen stories, because, nobody writes like Hans Christian Andersen.
Oh, my God. I love him.
But... I sobbed during The Ugly Duckling. Like, we had a little cry fest. Like, it's really good. Except that we also, the more we learn about Hans Christian Andersen, the more we have staunchly said, like, he's never invited into our home. If he ever, like, decides to, like, make a reunion tour.
Oh, that's hilarious, because I feel the opposite. I want to host a dinner party, and he is a guest because I want to watch what happens. I really want to see the dynamic.
I mean, you'll mainly just be having to, like, stroke his ego and invite Charles Dickens, because it's his hell.
Well, that's the thing is he doesn't care who I am, so I have to invite like another like incredible person. Like I want like him and Jenny Lind to show up so I can watch her be like, Jesus Christ, and him be like, I love you in his bad English. And I like that he's a drama queen.
Yeah, he really was. He really was.
And I just love that he like put it all into his books. Like if you pissed him off, you're gonna die in one of his stories, and that's hilarious.
You're gonna be in there. That's a really good way to think about Hans Christian Andersen. I have gone on record saying I am exhausted by this person.
I think most people feel the way you do. I didn't get in a fight about it, but on another, I did a podcast with this great children's author, Adam Gidwitz, who's like a huge Brothers Grimm fan. And he like brought that up. He's like, so you like Andersen, and I sure don't. And here's why. And I was like, but this is why I love him. I love my problematic
but he brings the
drama.
If you are comparing him to the Brothers Grimm, there's a lot of notes to be said.
Sure.
So if I had to compare, then I would probably also choose Hans Christian Andersen over them.
Well, their stories are so different. I mean, like the Grimm were preserving culture, and Hans Christian Andersen was like getting his therapy out on the page.
Yeah.
So
that was it. So good.
I feel like Hans Christian Andersen is one of those friends that makes you really practice your like boundary setting.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely. You have to go home now.
Where it's like, hey, I love hanging out with you. You're really fun. You can't sleep at my house for a month.
And also, I know that reviewer didn't like your book, but you need to go to therapy about this. and not cry on my front lawn about it.
And no, my sons will not bathe you.
I don't know. I think he's funny. I think it's funny that he kept a journal about how he jerked off. That's hilarious.
Wait, I didn't
What?
know that.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that.
I'm so excited I told you a fun fact. Yes. So he was just so he didn't really, it seems like he might not have had a lot of like actual like sexual relationships, but he journaled about his masturbation and he would like grade it. Like he would give it like, oh, that was a good one. And I love that for him.
That seems like a quarantine project. That's a pandemic project.
You had nothing else to do and you're like, let's see. Oh, that one didn't do it for me as much.
Okay, well, that's a 1 out of 10, but there's always tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. All right. Well, that's the last question I have for you. I really like the idea of ending on Hans Christian Andersen's jerk-off journal.
Yeah, I do too. It's the perfect ending.
So I guess the only thing to say is thank you so much for joining us, Liz.
Oh, I had a great time. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to come back.
It was the most fun hangout.
Yeah. Thank you to Priscilla for introducing us.
Thank you, Priscilla. We love you. And you're always welcome back because you're officially our girlfriend. So you get girlfriend privileges. What a day.
Yay.
Yeah,
It was fantastic to meet you. So fun.
Yeah. You too, Max.
If you guys who are listening, if you want to buy the book, first of all, from the bottom of my heart, this is the book that you need to buy. This is the book that you need to gift. It is so funny. It is so smart. It's well sourced. It's everything that if you listen to this podcast, it's everything that we are always talking about wanting in one book. And the illustrations are phenomenal. I can't talk enough about them. So we've linked a bookshop.org link there so that you could get it from a bookstore. Or, it's on Amazon. It's on all the different sites that you can get it on. Please go do that. Support Liz. It's so good. I also will include pictures on the Instagram and on our social medias. It's all sort of the story. If you want to follow Liz, go follow her at Cosbrarian. All of our links are in our show notes.
Literally everywhere
And,
I'm the same name.
Everywhere. That's so helpful. And yeah, if you have thoughts about this, text us, email us, DM us, go on Discord, join the Discord by joining the Patreon. It's $3, $4, or $7. And talk to us because we want to hear it.
If you start a thread about the book, I won't lurk there. I promise. I won't be like one of those authors.
Are you ever like tempted to sorry, one more question. Are you ever tempted to respond to, has anybody like given you any comments about the book?
I've seen a couple like bad reviews on NetGalley and stuff, but I never want to talk to people who bad review it. I do want to talk to people who give me a nice review, and which I also think some people think is inappropriate, but I just like to be like, thank you so much.
Authors have gotten so much flack recently for leaving comments on that, and it feels like wild to me. I'm like, they're not allowed to like
I get it. I don't think it's appropriate for an author to be like, well, this is why I did this thing. Like, sorry, dude. Yeah. They just didn't like your book. No, but I do think if you leave some nice feedback, you don't want the author to know that they appreciate that.
I would want them to see it. Like, wouldn't you be happy? Yeah. I would. Anyway, leave her nice feedback.
Yeah, and then I'll talk to you. And
then she'll talk to you.
I will not talk to you if you don't like it, but I also won't judge you. That's fine.
I'll judge them because it's a great book.
Thank you.
But yeah, just definitely go follow all that. And Liz, you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys. We love you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Max, you have to say bye. You can't just do a kissy face.
I made the kiss sound. Did it not come through?
Oh, sorry. It didn't come through.
Oh.
Mwah. Do it one more time.
Bye, everybody.
Add it in post.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll do a sound effect. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mwah.
Actually, this is kind of a good one. Based on what you've learned about me, and we'll say about Liz, does my social media accurately reflect who I am? Why or why not? Okay.
You should answer first, and then I'll tell the truth.
Yeah, okay. So I have been a huge fan of your social media since 2021 when I started TikToking because I was telling stories and carving on TikTok and everyone was like, oh my God, guess who else tells stories? And I was like, this is the funniest person I've ever met. So what I know about you.
Thank you.
Yeah. What I have learned about you is that you're very funny, that you spend a lot of time talking to yourself. Which, you know what? Same girl.
Relatable.
And that you probably, when you were younger, okay, here's my prediction about how you were as a young preteen, teenage Liz.
Okay.
what I imagine is that people would talk to you about the Disney movie and you would pause the VHS tape and say, you know, in the story, actually, she dies in the end.
I like it.
All right, that's my prediction.
Okay.
And Max just got to know you recently.
That's true. You know,
I'm-
pressure, Max.
Yes.
I'm chronically on TikTok and she is not because she's better than me.
Better than both of
No.
us.
Max is-
But from what I have seen of your social media, I believe that somewhere in your house there is just a teetering stack of books.
It's true.
Yeah.
Many. Yeah, I think these are all good assessments. Well, I mean, I hope I'm the funniest person that anyone's ever met.
Yes.
I do think that probably if
So
people
far.
got to know me in real life, what would be different is like I take a little while to warm up to people, so you don't always meet the like on Liz that a lot of you do meet.
the social media
online.
Liz.
Yeah, exactly. Because of course, what on Liz is just me sitting in a room talking to a phone by myself like a weirdo.
Yeah.
So, and my phone's my best friend. We have a very warm relationship. I would say I can't remember if I was like a kid correcting people with Disney movies, but I definitely was like a know-it-all and like a let me tell you this fun fact about this thing I love. So it probably did happen. Especially after I became a theater kid, I'm sure, and I got into like Into the Woods and stuff. I'm sure I had all sorts of opinions. Wait, what else did you say? Stack of books. Yes. Well, of course, I'm a librarian. So you'd think that I wouldn't collect books. You'd think I'd be good and I'd get them all from the library, but I don't. And at one point in my life, I was like, you can only buy fairy tale books. Way before I started TikToks, actually. I was like, fairy tale books? I think I said I could buy fashion books because I used to be a costume designer and something else. And even then, it's too much. So, yeah, definitely valid.
Amazing.
Sure.
Before we leave, Max should show you her book room. She has a book room.
Yeah, please do.
I don't think I should show that to you. I think it might be.
No, me and my fiance and I have had many conversations because he's like a comic book dude.
Yeah.
And so he has like action figures up the wazoo and comic books up the wazoo. And I'm like, I don't know, it's getting a little unwieldy. And then I'm like, don't look at the bookcase that I'm shoving stuff into.
Yours
Don't
is a
worry about it.
problem, but mine is fine. It's for research. Write a book
It's
if you
my work.
It's part of who I am.
And at this point,
This is a tax write-off.
yeah, at this point, you should tell him anytime it gets, if there's any comments made, just be like, I'm sorry, have you written a book about comic books? Because I've done my job. That's hilarious.